everyone loves him. Like he's just my wife is like obsessed with. He's the nicest freaking guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just the best, and he's so passionate about black gold. I mean, so passionate about Montana. And then Paige, who's like a rock star. I don't know how she's that good in front of the camera. The first time I was doing like a product video, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get up there and crush it. You know, I've been on camera before, and I go up there and the red light turns on. I'm like, and then Paige gets up there, like one take wonders the whole thing, and I'm like, oh man.
Her depth of knowledge that she has on stuff is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Like just so thorough. It's insane.
She's the GOAT. I mean, she's the GOAT, and in some ways, she has to be better than the guys at a lot of little things because she can't hold the bow as steady. She's not as strong. And so she's really got to game the system better. So how do y'all want to kick it off?
We are right now.
We're
You're all good.
All right. Since you hit the pause button, welcome to the Podium Archer Podcast. Coming at you from Nashville North Archery. Follow me on Instagram at @BrandonMcDonald_archery. Follow him everywhere at Podium Archer. Use discount code BMAC for 10% off. Is there any weird things coming up?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
All right. Okay, great. I'm glad. The 4th of July, you did a thing, but I think I aired the podcast too late to talk about it. I did it on purpose.
I know.
Yeah.
A little bit.
You got any used bows right now?
A lot.
Perfect.
A lot. Yeah. No, I should take that back. We actually have less than we did. I kind of predicted when it hit like late June to early July, the intake was going to start slowing down and the output was going to start going up, and we were going to start burning through them.
Yep.
And that's exactly what's happened. So we still have, I think we have 400, 500 used bows right now.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that
but
many.
it was higher than that at one point.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. After July 4th, I feel like that's go time. When
baby.
everything starts heating
It's
up.
time to roll. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So it's been a good thing.
All right, what are people supposed to do on audio?
They're supposed to follow us and leave us a review. It's about the only way the public can see the popularity of something. If you don't leave a review, it doesn't rank you up higher in the system. I know this podcast is getting listened to a lot, and we really appreciate all the support, but just like leave one little simple review. Don't even have to put words in it. Just put 5 stars behind it, and I'll never bother you about it again, I promise. And if you put 4, that might as well just not do it at all.
Don't do it.
Come on.
Don't do it.
Come on. We still have a 5.0, and we're almost at 1,000 reviews on Spotify. So
Nice.
Yeah. That's good
Also,
stuff.
just like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube.
Of course.
And so, all right, I also want people to comment below, because what I've been doing is posting the YouTube video and then delaying the podcast, like the actual audio. You want me to stop
I get
doing
hate
that?
mail.
Okay, all right.
I get
okay,
100% hate mail about that.
I know. I will.
And it's in the comments for sure.
I saw a bunch of people that they're like, I don't have premium, so I just don't want to listen to ads.
Hey, a-hole. I would really like to listen to this
I
on
know.
the podcast, not
All right,
on video.
Okay. Listen,
You're the
I'll
only
just-
person I know that has premium on YouTube.
Really?
You are the only person I know that
and
pays
I
for that.
don't listen to podcasts. I literally will be driving in my car with my phone sideways, listening to podcasts, watching the video, not like actually watching.
I was gonna say that sounds like a safety hazard there, but
admitting to crimes. Okay, listen.
Ooh, 990. We're almost at 1,000.
990? Hell yeah! Last time we had
Congratulations.
a Bowtech guy on.
Didn't go so well.
So who do we have here to try to redeem it?
This is you're the president, aren't you?
Yeah.
Colin?
Yeah.
This is then I haven't even asked you how old you are, which I don't mean to, but you appear young.
Yeah.
Not to dissuade anyone.
Old
but
enough.
El Presidente de la Bowtech.
You are talking to a guy who was standing behind the counter as the lead tech at 11 years old, so I try not to judge age.
Yeah.
But I was mildly surprised and excited about that idea, to be honest with you. But president of Bowtech?
Yeah.
Colin, what's your last name, Colin?
Legge, like
Legge.
the body part. Yeah.
Legge. That's easy to remember.
1 G?
Never does.
2 G's and an E at the end.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah,
Ooh,
you
like
can get
Legge.
fancy and Legge. Or,
Yeah, that sounds...
No, it's Legge. Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Colin
Nice.
Legge.
Yeah. I'm 30. For those wondering, yeah, I get that a lot. It's funny when I go up to people, like I was talking with Eric at Gas at TAC this weekend, and we were talking, and he's such a nice guy. It wasn't like he was being dismissive, but I think he thought that I was, worked in the pro shop or something, or was a new sales rep.
Yep.
And then Kelly at Black Gold was like, "Oh, Eric, you met Colin. He's, we're super excited. He's here. He's the new president of the company." And he was like,
Oh shit!
Damn.
Sorry about that, sir.
I hate dropping that card, for in the sig block. It looks so it's weird, but the reaction. So,
Sure.
people's reaction kind of changed, so it's funny.
Well, you look around all the other bow companies, and there's nobody remotely close to 30 running the bow company. I know I haven't ever met you before today. Having a great conversation before we turned this on. I kind of wish we recorded it about 20 minutes prior, but every person that's involved with your company that I've known for a long time, I get the exact same response when I got told about you being the president. It's like, I haven't been this excited in 5 years. Because the last 5 years have not been great. I think that's a fair thing to say.
That's fair.
So, but we shouldn't go to that. Let's like, hey, how did you get started in all this stuff?
Yeah.
We want to know
about you.
Absolutely. So back it up. Like, let's go. I mean, you're only 30, so let's just go back. Where'd you go to junior high?
Yeah. Do I need to start like showing where I'm losing hair for some credibility? So archery's been my whole life since I was probably 8 years old. I actually found target archery and competing as a sport before I found hunting, but now arguably hunting is a bigger passion of mine than shooting competitively. But so Houston, grew up in Houston, Texas, or a little bit outside Houston. Archery was just my life from a young age. And so I started shooting competitively, started hunting, and then archery in Texas is weird. It's a very underserved sport in Texas, even though Texas sells a lot of bows.
Yeah.
I'm sure, we can talk about this later, but I'm sure if you looked at a heat map of where most manufacturers sell the most bows in the United States, it's probably Texas is number one. But I think it's because we don't have a good archery in schools program. And so it's just getting into it is a little bit, I would say, mentorship in it is hard to find. And so, and a lot of the shops are just 100% hunting and that's it. And,
sure.
We get a bad rap because we shoot deer at 20 yards under corn feeders. And so,
I don't know why that would be a bad rap. That sounds like a very effective way.
Well, you can set up a bow. You can take a lot of shortcuts in setting up a bow and still be successful shooting deer. Yeah, 20 yards under a corn feeder.
You
but
could probably have a matchstick for a sight and pull it off just fine.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people hunt recurve, traditional archery, and so so I started off shooting, and then I'm just very OCD person. I've always had a very engineering mind, and part of that was I was never happy with how my bow was set up by someone else. I always wanted to set up my bow myself. And so either through birthday presents or Christmas presents or working summer jobs, I amassed a press and then a vise and then all the levels and then all the equipment I needed to start working on my own bow. And so I just started doing that. And so I started tuning my own bow. I was self-taught. This was before, I know I'm young, but it was before the advent of YouTube for archery. I mean, now I can go on YouTube and I can watch a video of you or watch a video of all the wonderful people that we have that share this information. But it was before that. So I was either reading things or on Eastman's Hunting Journal or Peterson's Bow Hunting Podcast. Like I was, that's how I was learning. It was very self-taught. And, so I just, continued on through college. I went to Texas A&M. I'm an engineer by trade. I went straight into the oil and gas industry. I'm from Texas. And so
there's some money in that from what I'm told.
Yeah, a little bit. I did not find that to be the case. But so I went straight into the oil and gas industry after college.
What was your major in college?
I was geology, actually. I was petroleum geology. So I went in. We took a lot of same classes as engineering. And then when I went into the oil and gas industry, I was basically thrust into an engineering role. And so I was doing saltwater disposal, wellbore diagrams, geosteering, a bunch of stuff that's not going to mean anything to anyone listening to this podcast.
But it will, because it's going to inform what you're doing as a CEO. Where you came from is where we want to know, because we want to know what's going to inform what's happening with Bowtech. So that's why I'm digging in. Yeah.
I appreciate it. And so I was working at a smaller company, and then I've always just been kind of called to do more when I'm not good at sitting still. And so I was getting kind of bored in my current role, and I was low man on the totem pole at a small company. And so I went to night school, got a master's in geophysics in night school. And then out of that, I got recruited what I thought was my dream job out of my master's program. And so I started working out at the time was the largest offshore producer in the Gulf of Mexico for oil and gas. And so, I was doing.
Don't they call that the Gulf of America now?
Gulf of America, yeah. So I'll get past this part. It's a boring.
It's
No, it's not. Colin, it's not.
Yeah.
Tell us your story, dude.
So, so I was working there. It was like my dream job. I was in ultra deep water geophysical exploration, and then COVID hit, and the company I was working for went bankrupt, and I got laid off, and I lost my job. And it was a tough time because I just spent all this effort putting myself through night school and working full time, and it was a hard year. And then it all culminated into what I thought was a dream gig for me. And then the company I was working for went bankrupt, and I lost my job. And you couldn't get a job. Oil prices went negative actually during COVID for a period. You couldn't get a job cleaning a toilet at an oil and gas company, and that was really all my experience was. And so then I fell back on everything. The only other thing I had experience on, I wasn't just going to sit there and I was just like, okay, one foot in front of the other. You got to keep moving forward. And so it was ended up being a huge blessing because that's when I started my first archery company out of my garage. At the time, I had nothing else to do. So I was like, people said, well, Colin, you're already tuning like 50 people's bows and getting them ready for competition and hunting season. Anyways, like, why don't you just start charging for it? And so I made it official, started an LLC, and I started my first archery company. It was called High Octane Archery. It was, I was like, definitely a young, like 22-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like a basement bandit, there's plenty of shops around there that are like that. And, we still support, and it's a backbone of archery in the United States. Like not everyone can afford a really nice brick and mortar location. And so I was a basement bandit. I got one of my buddies, one of my close friends, his name's Will Wallace. Shout out Wally's Custom Bowstrings. He was making strings, and really great strings. And so, it was great. I had like a local string manufacturer that I sourced from. A couple small accessory companies opened me up. Obviously, no manufacturer would open me up as a dealer, but I got some margin on some accessories, and I was basically charging an hourly rate. And so I got about 150 people throughout rotation, and I was able to make a living in Houston. And that was some of the best time for me in archery because I was learning. Like I thankfully, I don't know how this happened. I didn't have insurance at the time, and so I never blew up anyone's bow, which was a miracle. It seemed like every catastrophic failure I'd had in a learning process, I did to my own equipment, which ended up being great. And so I got a good reputation. Everyone was like, Colin is the, South Texas archery guy. And so I had people coming from me all over to help juice the last bit of performance out of the rig. And we were doing some crazy stuff in there, like Frankenstein and bows together with Dremels and Bondo and all sorts of stuff. And so it was a really fun time. And so I knew that wasn't a forever gig, running a bow shop out of my garage. And so this
is 2021?
Yeah, this was 2021. Yeah.
So 5 years ago, you were a basement bandit in your garage.
Yeah.
Hey, don't skip ahead.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Now
I love it. This is fantastic.
So then I ended up putting myself through business school. I went and got a master's in business finance, and I was like, okay, I need to get a big boy job after this. And so I went back into the oil and gas industry, but on the corporate banking side, I was doing transactional work, mergers and acquisitions, and corporate banking. And so I was doing that. Most people would think that's like more than a full-time job. It usually keeps people pretty busy. I don't know if I just wasn't doing my job to the full extent, or, I was very proficient at it, but I found myself with a lot of free time, and I always had been called to go back into archery. And so I started talking with a buddy, very similar deal. He's a real estate guy, actually. So similar link up. And he was a real estate guy in Houston, but also a passionate bow hunter. And he was like, why is Houston so underserved from an archery perspective? And so he said, do you want to start a shop? And so I said, yeah, of course, I'd love to. So we went and tried to underwrite it and tried to model, can we open up a shop in Houston and be profitable? And we modeled it, 10 ways to Sunday. And with all the uncertainty on, geographic protection and what dealer was going to open us up and who wasn't, and whose bows we were going to be able to sell, just the political aspect of it. And man, like, cheers to you for
Doesn't
being
pencil, does
a
it?
bow shop owner. It is so much respect, man. It is hard. It is a never-ending grind.
I constantly say it's the hardest retail job in the country
ever. I mean, it's so seasonal.
It is.
It's cyclical with the economy. I mean, it's just, you guys are, our industry lies so heavily on you, and it's just huge shout out. So I've been there. I tried to make it work. I couldn't. And so we audibled and said, okay, what was another way we didn't have to deal with all the political BS of dealing with geographic protections with manufacturers, and not saying that's a bad thing all the time, but just it was tough for us.
No, it's near impossible to make a shop work without the right brands.
Yeah,
I get people reach out to me a lot. Hey, I want to open a shop, and here I am. Da, 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 da. If and when I reply back, assuming I see it, is, hey, what brands can you get?
Yeah.
And if I don't hear at least 2 of the right ones, I go, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it work, because those bring in a certain number of people every year for revenue.
100%.
And if you can't get those, you're not going to have enough revenue to make it work.
Yeah, and we were really dependent on one brand in particular, and I knew we weren't going to get them. And if we did get them, it wasn't going to be the right relationship that I wanted. And so they swing a heavy hammer. So
You just do. I mean, you can fight it all you want, but that's the reality of it. If you can't get that brand, you probably don't want to open the store.
Yeah. And we were having to be 15 miles away from, I think, their biggest dealer in the United States, and so. And I think that's just Houston being a giant metropolitan area, huge metroplex with a lot of bow hunters, and we've got like one shop.
They're talking about Gearhead, by the way.
No, that was it. Yeah. Don't tell the people, Brandon.
I'm sorry.
And so we were like, let's audible, and so we started this idea for a club, and that was the best thing ever for us, was just a club. And so we ran it like an old school 24/7 jail yard gym, where basically I would tech for people in the mornings before work, at lunch, and then after work, and then on the weekends, and I would give archery lessons and tech for people. And then we started it, and Houston just loved it. I mean, there's a lot of people who had never been to a league night before, and just having that first experience with someone like that is just, it's words can't describe it, because it's like, wow, I'm getting all these nerves. Like, why am I nervous? And I can make this shot all day. I could clean this course that you guys set up, every day. But then there's $10 on the line.
All of a sudden you really care.
And it's like, oh my gosh, why am I making, this is the only thing I can replicate this is in a hunting situation. And so, it took off.
Where were you guys hosting it? Like the physical location?
So we were right in my real estate buddy, John David Johnson, he's now a dear friend of mine. He's still my business partner in that business. We own it in Houston. We are like in the shadow of downtown. Okay. So smack dab in the middle of the urban core of Houston, in this really badass old building. And we were able to have a 45-yard indoor archery range, and then basically a man cave. We just set up a man cave behind it, and then my with a bunch of TVs, turtle boxes, and then my workstation, and it was great. And then I think one of the reasons that made it successful was the model and the location, but also I am a very particular way when I work with people on archery. Like I like to pour into every single one of my clients. I'm sure you do, why you've got this reputation, but until their bow, you could go and shoot an ASA with their bow, whether it's a hunting bow or a target bow or whatever. And that's my strategy. And so that's, no matter how much time it took, and it was great because I wasn't selling anything. I wasn't making money off retail. And so I would just charge people an hourly rate for my labor. And I was like, as deep as you want to go down the archery rabbit hole, we will go. If you want to just say, give me a D-loop, put me in center shot, I throw my peep in, and I want to go, and like I know everything, and I'll just do it myself, great. But if you want to then go full, both feet in the deep end, we'll do it. And I would just I would put as much time into it as they wanted to do it. And it just became a big family.
Talk more about, so this is what I want to dive into this more, because I want more people across the country to set up what you set up.
Yeah.
So I want to talk more about the mechanics of it, and I want to talk more about the money side of it. Because I want to know, like, you have found a place where you could get a 45-yard indoor range. Can you do some of that?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to go crazy. But what I want to do is I want to show people, because there's people that are as passionate as you are that are in underserved areas. Like freaking Nashville was underserved.
Yeah,
and it's difficult to figure out how to have an indoor shooting situation like what you're talking about.
Well, it doesn't take a lot of capital. I mean, I think it took us probably somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 to start up the entire thing, and that was, you could get a revolving line of credit or a little SBA loan from a bank, and I mean, it's just a shooting line on the floor and some 3D targets.
Okay.
It's really not a lot. I mean, you can zhuzh it up as much as you want, but then really the key is our industry. Is archery attracts the type of people who this business model would work. If this was, I don't know, another industry, where it was a 24/7 situation where it wasn't always monitored by an attendant, I don't think it would work. I mean, I left my tools out. I would left bows that I was working on in the queue. I would leave those out on a bow tree. I mean, it was really an honor system thing. And it was just because archery attracts such people of integrity, and it's just a people cut from a certain cloth that we were able to do it. And everyone took care of the club like it was their own house.
Are people using an electronic lock to get into the building? Or
Yeah,
did you have hours?
It was basically we use a system called a Vigilon. It was through Motorola, and it's a fob that generates through an app on your phone that changes every 5 seconds, and so you can't just hand someone a fob key and say, "Oh, here, go use my membership." It's it was pretty straightforward. That's basically the linchpin of the whole thing, is how does your keyless entry work, and
they could go 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And then what were they paying per month?
We were $80 a month if you went month to month, and then if you paid for a year up front, it would factor into $70 a month. So we'd give you a $120 discount if you paid for a year up front.
Awesome.
And so I mean, we basically ran it as a non-profit to break even. I mean, we were like, we're going to charge as little as possible to cover our rent and utility expenses, and that was it. It wasn't a money maker.
How many lanes and how many 3D targets do you have on it?
So we have 18 Delta McKenzie 3Ds with the ASA scoring rings, and we do our league night like an IBO, like an unknown distance 3D shoot, and I'll set up the course before. And then we had 2 Reinhardt targets. It was really cool. We mounted them up on the wall, just high enough where you could pull your arrows out. So we'd put a bedded elk and a bedded sheep target up on the wall. And so we had 20 3Ds. It's 10 stations total, but when we would do league night, we'd combine it, each station cut in half, so it'd be 20 stations. Our shooting lanes are pretty big. And so then we had 2 lanes were dedicated for target. We just had big shots on dollies, rolling range targets. And then station 10 was a broadhead lane where we just threw a bunch of blocks
okay, that's a good idea.
So people could and we put up like a shield that lane, and so people could actually shoot broadheads, which was great.
Can tune up. That's
yeah,
a cool idea.
exactly, and check make sure your arrow flight's good with broadhead before you go hunt. So yeah, I mean, it worked out. It's really simple. And so, and like I said, it just grew to a big family, and we got some regulars that just became unpaid employees. And
Nice.
So we had like a group text. It was
Yeah.
like, hey, can someone replace the water jug and the water machine? Like, hey, can you make sure there's still pods for the Nespresso? Oh, I swept up some of the target shrapnel. I replaced a couple cores in the 3D targets. And it's like,
Dude, that's awesome.
It's just been great. I mean, it runs pretty hands off. I mean, I really encourage people to do it. I'm not trying to gatekeep that business model. We've seen a couple pop up in Texas. Do you know Corbin's Archery?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think Corbin's Archery has a place in Dallas. I think I talked to a kid who's running it at Attack, and he said they're doing a very similar thing. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a lot of capital. It's an easy business model. Do it. Like, please. I don't know where the camera is, but
it takes somebody with passion, though, and it takes somebody with the passion and a little bit of time who really wants to actually do it. But I think there's that person in most markets where they go, archery is the thing I love more than anything else.
And not for the money. Like, we were never going to make a dime out of it. We knew we weren't going to make a dime out of it. And, and like, we weren't doing it for that. We were literally doing it to just grow the sport of archery in Texas. And it was so funny. I'd have people take me their bows, and they're like, yeah, they're on these huge high fence ranches in Texas. We attracted a very, high end clientele pretty right away, which was super surprised to us. We weren't targeting that. It was just, I think the exclusive aspect of it, we ended up attracting that clientele. And some of these guys have these big high fence ranches in Texas, and they're like, yeah, I shoot like 8 to 10 whitetail a year, and I usually recover like 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. And I'm like, let me see your bow. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's a just absolute disaster. And so, you spend an hour with them, and you shorten 10 years of learning curve of them picking their bow up once a week in an hour. And then they come back to me, and we have a grip and grin bulletin board on our wall, and all of a sudden everything that they are flinging an arrow at is dying, and they're recovering. And so it was just, it was a huge benefit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I had some guy come in 3 or 4 days before an Idaho elk hunt that I'm sure was a guided hunt, probably, $25,000+ hunt. And he comes into me, and he's like, hey, can you take a look at my bow? I'm just going on this elk hunt in a couple days. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I was like, why don't you shoot I think he had to shoot fixed blades. Does Idaho require you to shoot fixed blades?
Not anymore.
Okay.
There's not a state in the country that requires it anymore.
Okay, got it. So he was shooting fixed blades. He had like an iron will, double bevel. And I was like, shoot it at the broadhead target. And I was doing some other stuff, and he missed the target and hit the wall. Like, his arrow planed so bad, it hit the wall. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me see that. And he was like, wait, I'm leaving in 3 days. I'm
glad you
relax. We'll get you figured out here.
So anyways, it was just like stuff like that makes your day, right? Like, and then you get a picture of an elk, a week later, and you're like, oh,
nice.
Like,
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, so then the owner of Bowtech got connected through me. Houston's a small world, especially oil and gas and archery, how it combines.
Sure.
He came into the shop, and I started teching for him, and then a couple people from his private equity group, which I think the best way to describe it is a very, very sophisticated, incredibly sophisticated family office is the best way to describe it, because I really don't like saying private equity and outdoors companies, because that is not how this is functioning. But they own a lot of different outdoor companies in the space, and they started coming to the club, and I was basically just teching for them. And then I shot Bowtech. I shot a bunch of different brands, but I was passionate about Bowtech, and they started asking me to do a little bit of consulting. And I didn't know where it was going, being run up the chain, but it was, new product development, engineering, marketing, brand strategy. They were just like, hey, give us a list of things that you think Bowtech could improve on. And so that was probably 18 months before I got offered this position. And so I started, doing some consulting for the brand. I still don't know where any of that documentation went, but I was just feeding it either directly to the individual or to the family office. And so that, it would be probably every 3 or 4 months they'd ask me for some sort of, advice here. It's all just, pro bono. I mean, I was just doing it because I was like, sure, I'd love the opportunity to consult about a giant archery manufacturer. And I had strong opinions. I mean, some of my opinions were not positive. I mean, good. I was like, when Bowtech launched the Virtue, for example, I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, they are so close to having the best hunting bow in the world. And then after the Virtue came out, I was like, it seemed kind of like they had taken a step back. And I was, and before that, there was always a lot of technology and IP I knew Bowtech had. And I was like, man, with this IP at your disposal, you really have all the tools in your tool belt to build something pretty remarkable. And so I knew they had good engineers, and I was like, it must be a new product development issue, or I was like, who is steering the ship from this? And it made no sense. And Bowtech was always kind of closed off from a leadership perspective, right? So everyone knew Matt's running Matthews, everyone's, was familiar when Zach took over Hoyt, and like he was a face that people knew because he was a touring pro.
Yeah.
And then PSC has had some turnover, but like they've always had kind of a face there.
Right.
And Bowtech, it was like, who's
in charge
Who's
of
in
this?
charge? Like this, like it always felt like there was some veil or curtain. It was very faceless.
Sure.
Back in the day, there was some faces like they had John Hernandez. Yeah, John Hernandez was great. I used to love watching his like videos
Talking
that
to
he
him
does.
last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still talk to John all the time.
yeah, and he was great. And but like recently, it seemed like it was kind of a faceless organization, and so. Anyways, I was doing some consulting. It went on for about 18 months. I had a great relationship with ownership and just was buddies with them and was his bow technician. And I didn't know at the time it was kind of the start of an 18-month long interview process for this position. And I guess my background kind of set me up as on paper from a CV perspective is like, this kid might be able to run an archery company. I mean, he's an engineer with a finance, who's been in finance for the last 10 years doing transactional work. And then he owns a shop and has been passionate about archery his whole life. This is kind of adding up to something. I guess that in hindsight is what they told me. And,
well, they probably liked the 18 months worth of feedback too. Cause I would assume if you were giving them stuff that they were like, they would have probably just been like, thanks, we appreciate it. But obviously, like you said, that was an interview process that you were going through. And they were like, I like the direction that he's thinking about going in.
I think it was alignment of interest. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that they were like, this vision for what the company makes sense. And I was surprised because a lot of it was pretty scrutinizing of the brand.
Well, and what the message that it's coming from, obviously, is from someone who understands how the bow works and what makes a bow shoot straight and what makes a bow function correctly, as opposed to an engineer with a degree staring at a computer screen, etc. It's a practical outcome, which is sweet.
Yeah,
like that. I get why the people that I've talked to are super excited about it, because the person in charge actually understands what makes a bow work right and had to figure it out on his own, and didn't have we'll just move it this way and that. Which was where I came from. I didn't have somebody to teach me how to do it. I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it gives you this unique perspective on what makes the thing function correctly, where you can pick apart all the crap that they're making. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool that's who's in charge.
Agree.
I think it was what you said was really appropriate, because I also got exposure to all the brands and all the different technology. So I was like, okay, out of all the cam systems that I've worked on throughout antiquity, which ones did I like? And how could I Frankenstein? And that's what I was doing. How could I Frankenstein bows together, and maybe throw a different cam on a different bow? It's like, oh, this axle looks pretty similar.
Been there, done that a lot. It's amazing some of the crap that you can make.
Oh, great. Especially if you have a batch of limbs and you can like start playing with deflections, and so anyways, I think that the message that I set resonated with them, and they are an incredibly smart group of people. JDH Capital, who owns Bowtech and Savage, and I guess all the pure archery group, umbrella, which I'm doing away with. I hate the pure archery group. I think that's so confusing to consumers, but they're incredibly sophisticated and they're really, really smart. And I think what they're really good at is finding passionate people that are driven and really hardworking to lead their brands, and the right people. And it takes a while. Like it takes a while to find that right person. But once you do, and you pair it with the resources that you need to be successful, like I truly believe, we're in one of the best positions an archery manufacturer's been in the last probably 25 years. I mean, it's really exciting. And so, so then the interview process kind of heated up in probably October of 25. They reached out and said that they were looking to make a leadership change at Bowtech, and that I was, interviewing for the job basically. And so it was about 3 months of an interview process, where it heated up a little bit, and, my vision for the company, they drilled down on that a little bit more. And then in December, they offered me the position. They kind of worked it in really smart, where because we had the plan of this relocation, which I'm sure we'll get into. It's like the worst kept secret in the archery industry.
The number of messages I've got in the last 2 weeks. Hey, I have it on good authority. I was like, I cannot comment on that.
I mean, it's whatever now. I guess we're not really trying to hide. There's no good way to do it, to phase it out. And especially with all the recruiting that we need to do down in Houston. But I think that the way that they did it, they kind of phased me in first as head of new product development and engineering at ATA, and then that lasted about 2 weeks, and then they were like, "Okay, surprise, Colin's the new president." I think it was to limit the shock factor of a guy my age coming in at a leadership position at a one of the big three in the archery company in the archery manufacturer world, and so. But it's been great since then. It's kind of been a whirlwind, drinking through a fire hose. Obviously engineering experience and then archery experience, but as far as manufacturing goes, thank goodness for all the great people. Sean Nichols, my COO, he's just an awesome guy. He started working at Bowtech when he was 18 years old. He's in his mid 40s now. He's worked at every single department throughout Bowtech, from strings to now being the COO of the company. It's a really cool story. He'd be a great person to get on the podcast show, but he's really helped me in catching me up on the manufacturing side. And then it's really been 2 jobs. It's been running this company and the engineering team and getting a product pipeline for the next 18 months, and then also managing this relocation, which is moving a giant manufacturing facility across the country and trying to have minimal business interruption.
So just so people know, where is Bowtech manufactured now?
Yeah, so Bowtech is headquartered in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
We have a really cool facility in Eugene. We've got a manufacturing facility. We've got our corporate office there too. Then we've got a pro shop as well, our factory pro shop, and then a range. It's a great pro shop, and it's really one of the few dealers in what Western Oregon's got the bow rack.
Yep.
But other than the bow rack, I mean, the Bowtech factory pro shop is kind of it.
But you guys, they're scrapping all of it and moving everything down to Houston.
Yeah. So I guess the big news on this podcast, the big news that we're breaking is, yes, Bowtech is relocating our manufacturing facility, our corporate headquarters, and the pro shop, all from Eugene, Oregon to Houston, Texas. And we will be set up, ready to go, making bows and be fully operational by the end of this year. So it is a crazy whirlwind of a time from taking over this position in January to then, starting, opening up a brand new facility in January of next year, all this within a year, and learning how to lead a company of this size and all the facets that go into building what you see in front of you as a Bowtech bow. Learning all of that and executing on the relocation in 1 year. I haven't slept much.
No
I
doubt.
appreciate the coffee.
Have you seen the young George Washington yet? The movie?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
So this is perfect parallel. So early on, they send the young George Washington in to do something that seems very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And the guy basically who sent him in said, if he succeeds, we look like geniuses because we sent a young man in to accomplish a goal. But if he doesn't succeed, we'll blame him because he was young.
Yeah. As a perfect scapegoat,
Yeah.
But, this is, to that point, like, this is my dream job. And I'll be damned if I don't execute on this. It's not going to be for lack of effort,
dude.
And so I think that's why they brought in a person of my age. And, one of the things that I think that resonated with them is that ever since I had a driver's license, I've either been in school and had a job or worked 2 jobs. I mean, that's just, I've never been good at sitting still. And so I think that you need someone with this, managing this relocation project and all of the logistics involved, and all the different parts of business that is involved in executing relocation, from the real estate to the developing to the architecture to the permitting, to the freight logistics. I mean, there's just a lot to do. It gives me it elevates my blood
He's
pressure.
like, I'm sitting here on a podcast wasting time right now. I have work to do.
I'm burning daylight. But no, this is I appreciate you guys having me on to kind of tell this story. And it's been a lot, but it's been an awesome year. And my wife, my wonderful wife, has been so supportive of me through this. She's been traveling with me all over, and I think that one of the things she didn't anticipate with archery is how public facing it is. It's not like we're just building widgets, like we're not building lawn chairs for people to use. This is so public facing, and people like to be able to look at someone that they're holding accountable when they're going to be at full draw on an animal, or in the last end of Vegas. They want to be able to look at someone that's public facing to hold them accountable. And so I don't think she anticipated going to all the TAC events and the shoots and traveling for the podcasts and stuff, but she's been great and super supportive, and it's just been a heck of a year. So we're not done with it yet.
No, we're just halfway.
Yeah, we're a very unique group, and I like to refer to it as we're not an industry, we're a community.
Yeah.
They need to know individuals. This is why something like this is so important, because they need to know who you are as a person, where your passion is, where you came from, where you're going, because we do make our financial decisions based off of an alignment with the people behind the company. That's why things like this are great.
Yeah,
you get some exposure into that. Like, who's not going to really want to support that story, right? Like, it's a phenomenal exposure thing, and I commend you for trying to tackle something that very few people at your point in life get the opportunity to tackle. And I have the utmost faith and belief that you will tackle it just fine.
Yeah,
I
appreciate it.
You got a drive in you that not a lot of people have, and that's the first thing that'll click on whether or not it'll be successful or not. Because I'll take effort over skill or expertise any day. Not to say you don't have those, you do, but the effort is what matters. Like, you only fail if you quit trying. It isn't more complicated than that.
I say the same thing, and when we're recruiting, I say the same thing to our HR department when they're recruiting. It's like, show me someone that's going to work. Like, this industry does not have the money or the time to pay for non-working managers or people that are all talk and no action. It's like, hey, let me build you a PowerPoint. I was like, no, build me a PowerPoint and go execute on what you built me in the PowerPoint.
Right.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head, is that this is such a relationship-based industry.
It is.
I mean, it's a family. I mean, you go to the Montana TAC and you see Kelly, who works at Black Gold, there, and it's hugging with people. Hey man, how's your family? How's your kids? I had a guy, it was so incredible. I was with my wife and we were at a Montana knife party after Montana TAC, and I had a guy, his name's Gabriel from, I think it's Ivory Holsters. He makes the Kydex holsters that hold your release. And I told him I was going on my first elk hunt this year for like a content shoot for new product, a new bow we're launching. And he prayed over me, to like, just in public, out of nowhere, prayed over me that I'd be successful. And I just feel like what it was like to be elk hunting. And I was like, wow, that is, it gives me chills thinking about it. I mean, it's a family.
Cool. It is.
And to think that you can be successful in this company with someone in a leadership position that doesn't understand that and doesn't value that, I think is foolish. You have to live it, and it has to be your passion. You have to wake up every day thinking how you're going to drive innovation in this industry. And so, I think that's my take on that. So,
I love that.
Yeah. Are you guys staffing up in Houston right now? Like, are you hiring?
Yeah. We're bringing some really talented people down from Eugene, but then we're also hiring a lot. Okay. I think, this move is really, really exciting for Bowtech. One, Texas people ride for Texas-made products. I mean, I remember when Toyota put a Tundra plant in San Antonio, and every Tundra that came out of that plant had a Texas flag, like the size of an iPhone, on the back window. they sold the crap out of those trucks. And that's a Japanese company. And I was like, just Texas people really are loyal to Texas-made products. And the fact that we're going to be the only bow manufacturer that I know of that's manufacturing bows from scratch in Texas is pretty incredible. And I think that Texas is one of the best states to be a bow manufacturer because of the talent that we have at our disposal. I mean, Houston's a metroplex of, I think, 8.2 million people in the greater Houston area. And so the fact that we're recruiting from that now, as opposed to recruiting from, all of Western Oregon, all of Oregon, I don't think has the population of the Houston metropolitan area.
Right.
And so I think it's really exciting, and we've already started to get some really good people down there and getting them up to Eugene for training. And I mean, I think the key in executing this is we've got to be a company at the end of the day when we land this thing, and what makes the company is the people. And we're bringing down a tremendous amount of tribal knowledge from Bowtech. I mean, combined probably over 100 years of experience we're bringing down to Houston with us, with people that have worked in every single department throughout Bowtech. And that was something I was passionate about too. It's like, I want to be able to go in at any department. I don't care if it's decoration, like plugging risers, or on the assembly line, or in strings, or, obviously R&D, that's my dojo, but whatever department, I want to be able to get plugged in and be able to be proficient. And so that was like my first, I guess, 2 months at the company, but we're bringing down a tremendous amount of tribal knowledge, and then, recruiting some really talented people in Houston. And so I'm really confident this is going to be a huge splash for Bowtech.
Dude, that's awesome.
We are building a mecca for archery down in Houston. I mean, this is going to be brand new state-of-the-art facility, manufacturing and corporate office, but then an awesome pro shop that's hitting a very underserved area. And then we're going to have a 60-yard indoor 3D range there. Like, I know Easton and Hoyt facility is like a mecca for archery now, and a lot of studies are being done there. I was like, we need to build, there's room enough for more than one facility like that. And to be open to the industry and to not gatekeep it like it's the Death Star. It's like, hey, let's invite people to come to this facility from around the world, not just the United States, but from around the world to come. And we're building a corporate experience center. I mean, we could have chosen a 100,000 square foot tilt wall box in the suburbs of Houston, and we could have just been building bows in a box and not even had a retail presence.
Yep.
But we chose to invest in ownership. Ownership chose to invest in building this incredible facility.
Are you ground up for the build?
No, it's a remodel, but it's a like tear it down to the studs remodel. It's a tilt wall building, but it's in the urban core of Houston. I mean, like the hottest, sexiest retail area of Houston. And so we're really excited about it.
That ain't cheap.
No. No. But it's a this leads me into my next point. And we can go wherever you guys want to go. I feel like I've been yapping, but
keep talking. This is great. Keep talking.
I despise private equity in outdoors companies. I mean, when I did my master's in business, we had a case study on the Remington bankruptcy, and I was like, how does one of the largest firearms manufacturers in the world go bankrupt during the largest run on guns in the 21st century? It's like, okay.
With the most copied action that had ever been copied anywhere, and the most considered widely used reliability of an action, and they go bankrupt.
Yeah.
How's that happen?
And it's
intentionally is how.
It's PE. You get saddled with a bunch of bad debt, or you get smashed up with different corporations. They make leadership changes, whatever. I'm really passionate about saying this, is that this situation with Bowtech and Savage and Excalibur is not a private equity backed outdoor company. It is the most sophisticated family office backed outdoor company that allows allowing these companies to do what they never would have been able to do as a family business. It gives them the capital to execute on those initiatives, and they're incredibly intelligent. They've got a ton of technology and resources at their disposal, and they make really good decisions, and they don't sell. I mean, you just look at their track record. They're long-term
They're builders, they're
investors.
not flippers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in this game, that I met. They're like, build it up, then cut the cost, juice the EBITDA, sell it for a multiple. Like that's what I did for 10 years. But this is not what they're doing. None of the decisions that they're making point to that. And they've told me very openly. It's also no shareholders. It's just one guy. And so. And he's told me very bluntly, he's like, I want my grandchildren to own this business. And so they're long-term holders, and everything that they are doing, they're very good stewards of that capital, and they invest very tactically and strategically, but it's all for a long return, like a long-term return, and setting these businesses up for success in the long term. And that's what I'm super excited about Bowtech, because, dude, you've got to have a freaking roadmap to understand the ownership and leadership changes over the years at Bowtech. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even
seem like every 6 months to 18 months or somebody else.
I can't even keep track of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I know John Strassheim started the business. It was Oregon Bow Company.
Yep.
And then, then it turned over to this ownership group, and then this CEO came in, and this CEO and this CEO. And largely it's just been people who didn't really know a lick about this industry and weren't really passionate about archery. And you look at the history of who was in charge of new product development at that time, it's like, I don't know how Bowtech was able to put out the caliber bows that they did for so many years. I mean, because Bowtech had some incredible bows that I really liked throughout antiquity.
You were a huge Bowtech guy.
Well, for the longest time, they were right. So I try to gauge things like that by walking down the wall and looking at them.
Yeah, me too.
And you go for it. You walk down the wall 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And you go, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Where everything else really looked similar. And traditionally, almost today, still does.
Yeah.
Like you walk down and there's like, oh yeah, it's a little different. And then you run into the Bowtech and you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then you look at how it's functioning differently. Like the thing that pulled me in as a dealer, because I wasn't a dealer until the General.
Yeah.
And the Year of the Guardian made me start inquiring. I'm like, okay, hold on.
Was that the first bow with the center pivots? Like the long
Guardian
pocket?
was the first one.
Yeah.
Well, Guardian, it had a hinge in it, a pivot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was the first year of it. And I had a customer bring one in. There was a dealer like a half hour away from me or so, and I hadn't even seen one. Brought it in, said, try this thing. And I shot it, and I turned around and went, what the fuck? Like, it felt so different, so dead in the hand in comparison to anything I'd even tried. Like, that day I was on the phone. I was like, what do I got to do?
Yeah.
Like, I have to have this.
Yeah.
Because if I guarantee you I'm losing sales by not having this product.
Yeah.
And they've incorporated a lot of things from that original design still today. Like, if you look at reflex geometry design, I believe in that heavily. Like, every argument you can ever make with it, I don't give a shit about dynamic brace height versus static brace height or whatever. Measure the goddamn reflex of the bow and try to torque it.
Yeah.
And it's measurably different every time. It's freaking engineering.
And this has been something that I'm like, why has marketing not hammered this home? It's like, we have the most deflexed neutral riser, and we generate this much speed. You're telling me that you can get this much speed out of a riser that is essentially neutral?
Well, and let's establish where things have gone. Let's look at the last 15 years of bow design, right? 15 years ago, everything was a yoke, a split yoke, right? And you adjusted your wheeling by twisting it left and right.
Yeah.
And we decided that was a bad thing. I'm not sure why we decided that was a bad thing, because it wasn't a bad fucking thing. But we decided it was a bad thing. I think you've got about 3 curse words so far to take out. I'm sorry.
Damn it.
But the reality of that whole situation, right, is they're trying to figure out how to tune the bow without moving the rest back and forth. So the string leaves the bow down the center of the riser because you get greater accuracy downrange if that thing can stay square. Fair. Right? Okay, the easiest way to do that was to manipulate the yoke back and forth, turn your cam back and forth without the cam moving in the axle. But once we decided that wasn't the right way to do it, now you created this whole freaking problem of how do I tune it correctly? And they got these little parts and pieces that go in the axle assembly. When the Reckoning came out, which that was, what, 7 years ago? 8 years ago?
8 years ago.
I want to say the only tuning system that existed, and I'm pretty sure Elite was out before that, with a pocket that moved. And PSE originally made a pocket that moved.
Well,
Remember that?
was that
That
the
kept
independent
moving.
limb bolt?
Yeah. They had that originally way back when,
yeah.
but they didn't ever market it as a tuning thing.
Yeah, it was shims in the pocket. That's what it was.
Yeah. So they had like a cam in the pocket where you turn it and the whole thing would manipulate. And I always constantly saw them moving, like they didn't stay put.
I have a hot take about that.
Oh, go for it. Bring it up.
Well, no, it's like we're kind of back there, right?
Yeah,
like we're back into an in the pocket tuning system, and it's like we had that back in the late 90s.
Now it's way more sophisticated than that.
Yeah,
but the idea was back there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that turned into, I think Elite made the same system they're making today then, and that was your manipulatable tuning system. But it makes small changes. You can't get out big tears.
Big tears,
right? Yeah. And then the Reckoning came out. I heard about it like 2 months before you ever launched it. First time I saw it was at the NABA trade show. I don't think you had it at ATA yet. And I walked over to it, I looked at it, I said, I'll be right back, ran down. It's like, who's got an Allen wrench? Somebody give me an Allen wrench. Loosened the screw, twisted it, drew it back, looked at it, set it back down, said, that is the smartest thing I've ever seen. Thank you.
You're like,
and when can I buy them?
The light bulb just goes off when you see it. It's like threaded axle.
Why did this take so long?
Yeah, I know.
Why did this take so long? Because this is a variable, simple solution.
Yeah.
And then nobody knew what it was for years.
Yeah.
So poorly handled as far as a marketing standpoint is concerned. That is the end-all be-all solution. That the easiest way to do it, and the most consistent way to do it, and the most reliable way to do it.
And the most obvious way to do it.
You're preaching to the choir.
And why do, like, every other system built today.
I wasn't there yet. That's the problem. Wasn't there yet.
But I mean,
I guarantee you he shared in the pain of this argument. It's like, what are you doing with this tech? Oh my God. Right? Because everyone's trying to use something like that today in a worse way.
Absolutely. And as a tech, holy cow, when someone would buy a Bowtech or come in to me with a Bowtech after, I guess, the Revolt, and even the Realm was great. You just yoked it. But Revolt, I was like, oh, this is going to be the best, 20 minutes in and out, and it's for usability, for tunability, for empowering the everyday archer to be able to take hold of their equipment and manipulate it to improve their shooting. It is like the best, most simple technology ever.
It is.
It just forever, no one knew about it.
Right.
It was just under communicated, under marketed. I don't know what you want to call it, but
Undermarketed.
Yeah.
Undermarketed, 100%. And I remember being in those discussions, like, who's in charge of this and how are you communicating this message? Because it's not working, however you're trying to communicate it. And if you're not going to communicate it effectively, license it.
Yeah.
Because 3 to 5 years from now, everyone's going to find some way to do this differently than you're doing it. And then your technology is not going to be so superior anymore. It's probably going to be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But they're going to be like, yeah, but my Matthews does that. Or yeah, but my Hoyt does that.
Yeah.
In a different way. But in a consumer's mind,
it's still a pressless tuning feature.
It's a pressless tuning feature.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to capitalize on this stupid thing, license it.
Yeah.
Because at least you'll make your money one way or another. And they just never
but
did.
that ship sailed. Like,
I know.
that's the crazy part is that
Yeah.
that's exactly the roadmap that happened.
I know.
Yeah.
They didn't do it, and now here we are.
Yeah. It was COVID. It was during COVID where I started having those discussions with them. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is the greatest freaking thing in existence.
Yeah.
They are going to find ways around it. If you're not going to be able to capitalize on taking the majority of the market share because of your tech, license it.
I wonder if that would have worked. Just because I'm not like discounting that would have been a valid strategy. I would probably would have explored that if we didn't have the marketing budget, but just how much do you charge for a royalty on that? It's like, that's such a foundational piece of our IP. And you're saying, okay, we're going to let this go. How much is this going to affect sales? I mean, I guess we're all just thinking about it like,
Sure.
if this was a hypothetical situation.
But
it's like,
almost every bow has something like that, right? Well, how many numbers is that a year?
How much margin is there to pay for a royalty? Like, I've been in these costing exercises where you're going through a bomb,
Sure.
And
we've listened to some of the other owners, and I've been like shocked at how cheap,
Yes.
how little they're paying per bow for certain things. I'm like, what? $8 a bow is what you're paying for that thing that's on there? That's crazy low to me.
Yeah, and we don't pay a lot of royalties at Bowtech.
No,
I mean,
but
really don't.
But think about it. Like, I mean, you're in this industry and you're at the highest level of this industry.
Yeah.
How many bows are sold a year in the United States?
Yeah,
Seriously, like how many bows is it? Is
The
it
answer
gotta be
is
millions?
just
tens
market
of
value.
thousands.
Is it hundreds of thousands to millions somewhere in there,
so,
right?
If
Okay,
we
so
incorporate like recurves and stuff. Yeah.
Let's funsy call it $250,000 bows a year.
Yeah.
All right. You make $10 a bow.
Yeah.
That's $2.5 million a year for doing nothing
Yeah.
but sharing your tech,
Or-
and then not having to not having to have to argue with our tech's better than your tech. Your tech's better than my tech.
Yeah.
Right.
Could have turned Bowtech into just an engineering firm.
Well,
like
or just hiring one or two more marketing people that have a better directive and a better way to go forward. Where you go, we have this direction, and we're going to get people to buy Bowtech and then buy into the brand.
Yeah,
and that's what I want to talk about next. Is you have a vision for where you want Bowtech to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the vision? With as much detail as you can possibly share without giving away too much secrets.
Yeah, this is fun because like I'm really open kimono. Like I'm not gonna say it on a podcast where people can record me and be like, let me think about that. But if you come up to me at an event, I'll tell you what the roadmap is. I mean, from a product perspective, like it's not a secret. I mean, you and I, the three of us, could sit around and have a beer and talk about with Bowtech's current IP. Hey, let's build the best freaking hunting bow in the world, and let's build the best freaking target bow in the world, and we can do it with that. I mean, all the technology, we could totally do it. And so everyone, you could probably figure it out. And so, I'm not gonna talk specifics, but essentially the vision for Bowtech and we're aligned with ownership is we're gonna build the best hunting bow in the world. We're gonna build the best target bow in the world. And then we need to have a marketing and go-to-market, so sales strategy to make sure people know about it. And me selfishly is like, okay, we're just going to deliver this product and it's going to come out and it's going to be like, oh, and then like everyone will just be like, what is that? I want that bow. And they're just going to come to you. And then you're going to call me and say, Colin, I need 1,000 of these bows because like people are coming in asking for it. But that's not the case. I mean, you look back through antiquity at bows, and some bows were like that, but most bows that were really, really good, you had to have an effective marketing campaign around it and an effective go-to-market sales strategy around it as well. And I think that it's just been, honestly, there's a lot of complacency in this industry with a lot of older people that just are stuck in the mud about how certain things should be done, and like there needs to be a shakeup.
How many magazine ads will you be purchasing for the new Bowtech?
People read magazines?
Yeah, or like, what? Legacy media. It's just, I love watching, legacy media, but it's like you look at this is going to sound crazy for me to say, but what Matthews has done should be studied in marketing school. Like it should be a case study. That I remember this was before I got this job, and we were just sitting because I consume a lot of archery content, and we watched one of Matthews's proving ground stories, and my wife and I were watching it in the evening. It made her cry, and I was like, "This is a hunting production that's that emotional and that high of production quality. It's like making my wife cry." And they have set the North Star for the industry as far as marketing goes. And so, without saying, without trying to poo-poo any other areas of marketing, it's like that's a great strategy to strive for. And obviously
define that strategy, because I want to make sure you got it.
Well, I think, obviously I don't want to ever be what is Bowtech? Our slogan is refuse to follow, right? And like that's our North Star from an innovation engineering perspective. From a marketing perspective, I think like that's a pretty good manufacturer to follow. But I don't ever want people to look at Bowtech content and think that like, oh, we're just knocking off like, a Matthews Proving Ground film.
It's about the heart of those people, though. That's the reason that your wife watched it and wanted to cry. And then you capture the heart of the person who just so happens to be using something that's a piece of technology to go on this video.
That is incredibly well said. It's not, hey, I'm Colin Legge with Bowtech Archery and check out this new thing. They're going to be like, dude, screw up. Like that's not how it's done. It's tell the story. Tell the story about this guy who is taking his son on his first ever hunt out west, or he's he's a wounded veteran that's like getting the first opportunity to hunt after he's been wounded, or like, it's these incredible stories that you hear in the industry, and then the product's just there.
Correct.
The product's just there. It's not trying to push the product on. It's like, you're empowering people that could be me. Like, that could be me one day, and I want to go and do that. And that's just happens to be the tool that they're using to accomplish that.
Or this company is supporting a type of person that I want them to be supporting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's not an original idea of Matthews, for the record.
No,
so you're not copying anybody by portraying that. That is the heart and soul of telling a story. Period.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not a company thing.
Yeah, and I think that I'm not a marketing guy. I know good content when I see it.
Yeah.
And I consume a lot of content. Like, I've been watching your videos for years, and I think that you make the best bow reviews in the business. And
Thank you.
I think that it's just, I recognize good content, and I think that it's finding people, and I think we do have a great marketing team at Bowtech, but it's just developing, I guess, is a brand identity, and saying this is going to be our brand identity. And we have a good example of what a great marketing strategy is, but let's put our own Bowtech spin on it. What are we known for? We're known for our technology and our usability, and like how easy our bows are to manipulate at home without a lot of equipment. And it's like, maybe let's make a playlist of at home tech tuning that's not on our Instagram or Facebook, but if you want to go for technical resources about how to use our equipment, here's a place to go. If you want to see cinematic, dramatic, long form hunting content, here's a place to go. And I think there's a lot of ways to
what
do
about
it.
Instead of that, it's here's who you go to. And if you want to see this, here's who you go to. Because you have some compelling characters that are already in your arsenal. Paige, terribly compelling.
Yeah.
Tim Gillingham, welcome back, Tim.
Yeah, welcome back.
Terribly
Timmy.
compelling.
Yeah.
So to me,
James. Yeah.
He knows shit about bows, but he loves Bowtech.
I love James.
We love James too.
Yeah.
We love James too.
He's the man.
But you know what?
Yeah.
He is one of those. He is also a compelling character. That if James is a funny one, because I think people assume that James is not a shooter, and I'm so glad that he decided to make the transition and show that dude is a shooter.
Oh yeah,
and that dude, when you put him in front of animals, is a hunter.
He's a predator.
But that's what I'm saying is, I think that you've got a stable of characters that if Tim's the tech. Paige is also tech, but then there's something else for her, and then James is whatever, the fun.
Yeah.
Like if you create a stable of characters and that are compelling, then you've got these stories that are constantly running that appeal to different people.
I agree, and you said it. You got to appeal to different people.
Mm-hmm.
Like James is gonna piss some people off. Like
Yep,
the way
of course
he's gonna piss the purists off, and like the guys. And then Paige, I'm sure, is going to piss some people off who are like, more of the hair and heartbeats. They're like, I don't want anything to do with that target stuff. And it's curating a group of people who are aligned with the brand, shoot our bows well, and then also, they hit on everyone across the spectrum of the archery industry. And I think that stable of individuals that we have supporting our brand is going to grow. It's going to grow rapidly. I mean, we're not going to get over our skis. I'm not going to tell, that we're going to sign every pro shooter and we're going to sign every hunting influencer, but like we recognize that is a strategic way to grow from a marketing perspective, and it's something that Bowtech has lacked severely over the last couple of years. I mean, shout out to James and Paige, because they've really been carrying the banner themselves, like, and being incredible stewards of our product for a long time, and really being on an island.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it was 2 years ago or something like that. James almost left because he couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He called me. He's like, do you got any suggestions? Like I don't want to have to leave.
He couldn't get somebody
to respond. And I'm just like, what?
Well, it's such a
like, all right, just hang on. I started making some phone calls. Like, who's in charge of this?
Yeah.
And they were
like
we
seriously,
don't know.
if you don't, like, he's going to leave. You're being stupid. Like,
Yeah.
and it probably won't take all that much. Just call the guy back, for Christ's sake. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And
now,
I think that was after the Tim and Kyle thing too. I'm pretty sure. I was just like, what are you doing?
that was a black eye. Now it's such an antithesis because now he's got my personal cell phone.
Right.
We talk on the phone all the time, and it's great.
The
So,
Tim and Kyle thing was such an egregious miss.
yeah.
And I know you weren't involved at
No.
that point in time. It was
No.
such an egregious miss that whoever was in charge at the time should have literally just been like, we can't do this way. Like, this is going to be such a big bag of shit for us to eat because you create. I think Hormozy's been saying this, and he's quoting Disney. You have to create 37 magical experiences to offset one traumatic experience. Dude, and that was a traumatic experience for the archery community of people that want to figure out a brand of people that they want to support. And you go, you guys took two great guys and they just flushed them down the toilet midstream. I know this is not you, but that's part of like
and not address and then didn't address it really,
outside of the normal cycle too.
That's the bigger the bigger problem.
And that was really what the big issue was with it. If you choose to move on from somebody, that's one thing. But if you wait till everyone else is signed to do it, that's fucked. Like and that's where it was, and they never said anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that was the kind of the conversation we were trying to have. Was like, hey, defend yourself. Like we're 40 people going to lose their jobs if you didn't do this or something, right? Like defend yourself a little bit, and they never did.
Well, that was why when we did the last pod with a Bowtech employee, we were trying to get into this. We were trying to go here because we wanted people to understand that no, we were making sacrifices that we felt like had to be made, and we were making drastic cuts because here's the position I'm seeing your shifty eyes right now. I understand the discomfort that I'm putting you in.
Look, I'm not.
He's not in disagreement. Is what
I'm
you're
not
saying.
in disagreement
like,
at all. I agree with everything you said.
Are you uncomfortable with
no,
this? Okay,
absolutely not. We can go there all day long, and I've gone there publicly. And it's funny when Tim came back to Bowtech, and he did a podcast with Greg Poole, Bow Junkie, and they were talking about Colin, and I got so many messages, or I looked on the comments like, who is this mysterious Colin guy that they're talking about? And why is he apologizing? Wasn't he the one that cut these guys' throats in the first place? And I was like, no, like I wasn't there. And like I said earlier, with this roadmap that you have to navigate, like who was in a decision-making position at certain times, I think bottom line is everyone that was associated with that decision is no longer affiliated with Bowtech as a company.
Wow.
That's the easiest answer to that. Unfortunately, we made ourselves a case study. We really did. We made ourselves a case study of how much credibility having those guys perform so well with our products, how much credibility that gave to the people behind the counter and the people that are shooting the best at league night and the people that are running your local clubs and managing your local pro shop, how much credibility those people performing well with your product that gives them, and how that translates into sales. It's unquantifiable how massive of a error that was. But and I apologize to Tim. I mean, that was the first thing I said to him when I called him. I apologize. I mean, this guy was one of my heroes in the archery industry. A lot of my philosophies that I've developed that I'm really strong in are come from him, directly from him. And as counterculture as they may be sometimes.
He says some random stuff.
I want to see.
Whoa, hold on a second. How's that work?
I want to see built-in quad stabilizers from Bowtech in the future, just hanging off
the
which
walker.
Way. The walker.
And
but to be clear, for everybody who knows, you were not part of cutting them loose.
I just working for him.
I know. That's what I want to make sure is absolutely
I was
out
just
there.
I was a avid follower of competition archery. And I ran a shop at the time, or a club at the time, and I was a consumer of those products.
Yep.
And it hurt me to see that. But you look at where we are now. Kyle is shooting probably the best season anyone's had in a long time with that bow, and Tim was not performing well with that bow. He's a kind of an anomaly with his 33.5-inch draw length.
Yep.
And I think that Matthews showed a ton of grace. Man, I need to say something bad about this company. I feel like I'm
No, you don't. I don't think that buys you anything.
They're just they showed they're great people, and I admire that company greatly. And I would say that we wouldn't have archery wouldn't be in the spot it is now without that manufacturing company.
1,000%. You can't get to where they're at by making a whole bunch of mistakes.
Absolutely not.
They tend to do almost everything right, and it's not like a braggy, praisey thing. They just do. They make very few mistakes.
Yeah, I'd agree. And when they do make mistakes, they seem to do right by them.
Correct.
But I think that there's some areas where Bowtech can outcompete them. Like, I'm just being honest. Like,
dude,
we can be more nimble. We can be, we can be faster. We can incorporate, our shooter feedback, I think, more effectively. Like, there's ways that we can compete and be in our own lane, and there's room enough for everyone to compete and for everyone to make a buck, And I think that the way Matthews handled the situation was incredibly graceful. They picked up Tim and Kyle mid-season after Bowtech had dropped them, and then and Tim, they're like, I don't know what you're gonna shoot, but like, we'll find something. And then you look at it, whereas now, like, Tim's back with us. He had the bow for a day and won the IBO when that second leg of the IBO. He had the bow for a day and just won the Triple Crown at IBO with the Bowtech, and that's the reckoning. Not to mention the new bow we have coming out, which I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but which we're super excited about. But everything worked out. I mean, Tim's back with us. I think it's for our target pro staff. It's the Tim and Paige show, but we want to grow it. And so we're committed to Tim for the long haul, and Kyle's doing great with that bow. And I think everything worked out the way God intended it to work out. And it was a huge error. But look, that companies live and they learn from that. And we survived it. We came out the other side, and now I'm here. So it got me to the position I'm in, and I'm really excited. And then to have Tim, the opportunity to one of my heroes, he's known for manipulating his equipment to give him an edge. He'll tell you right now, he doesn't hold steadier than the competition. He doesn't execute a shot better than the competition. Everyone knows Tim punches the trigger, but he manipulates his equipment to give him an edge. And to have that person advising me when I'm building a target bow, it's like, I should not. Yeah, let me take the first pass and let me put something in front of you guys. Yeah. But I should not be telling you guys, oh, this is what I've designed. Be in awe of this target bow. Good luck. Go shoot it.
No, the best thing you could do is build it and say, here, tell me what's wrong with it.
Tell me what's wrong with it.
And then Paige, here, tell me what's wrong with it.
And then incorporate their feedback. And you have to give yourself enough time in the prototype phase. And that's why this target bow has dragged a little bit, is because we've done that. Like, we were like, hey, Paige gave us this feedback. We could choose to incorporate it or not. What do you want to do, Colin? I'm like, do you think I'm not going to incorporate this feedback? Like, are you crazy?
Did you video any of the process?
Oh, the whole thing.
Good. Yeah. Because that's what I think also people want to see is I think people would love to see what's this thing look like initially? Yeah. What is Paige's feedback? What's Tim's feedback? What did you guys change to make it these better things?
Oh,
and maybe you didn't go that.
Cool.
Okay.
We did.
I hope you did.
We have a video of like Paige beating my Instron machine. So like we put a bow in a press and it'll draw the bow.
Yep.
It's like a brake press, but it has a computer attached to it, and it'll draw the bow and then generate a draw force curve on the computer. And when you see the initial draw force curve, it was like Rev 1.2 of one of the cams on the new target bow, it looks like butter. You're like, how could a draw force curve look better than this? And then she's drawing it back and she's like, Colin, there's something wrong here. And like, I'm stronger, so I would draw it back and I'm like, I don't feel it. Tate's like, I don't feel it. And she's like, Colin, it's right here. And she's like, this is where I'm getting issues. And so I'm like, Paige, look, like, here's what it is on the computer. How am I supposed to beat this? And then she's like, try. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try. And I went back, we did some tweaks. Josh Stevens, incredible design engineer at Bowtech. Shout out to Josh. Josh did some tweaks, and this new cam she drew back, and she's like, I don't know how you did that, but that's that's incredible. That's perfect.
Dude, that's awesome. You went with Paige over the computer.
Over the machine.
Yeah, she beat the machine.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
amazing.
And that's the type of stuff where it's like, you know, that's how we're going to have to differentiate ourselves. It's like we're going to have to say, no, we are going to maybe push launch back and sacrifice a couple hundred units, but we're going to incorporate this feedback and we're going to build the best dang target bow in the world.
And then next year you'll just get it to him earlier so that you can just make sure that you're out on time.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta change a target bow, but every 3 or 4 years, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm talking.
That's
but
target.
you know what,
They don't
though?
change
Like
them that often.
Paige is a prolific hunter,
Yeah.
and so getting Paige's feedback. I'm gonna say one thing, and you don't have to make a comment either. Ava Shockey, I love you, and at the same time,
Didn't she just move here?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. She hasn't come to the shop. She hasn't come in here to buy a bunch of archery stuff.
I have not heard.
God bless Ava Shockey. That's all I'm gonna say. You don't have to say anything. Let's move on.
she's really not gonna,
she's been a great steward for Bowtech for a long time though. I mean, we see you walk through the factory, there's just banners of Eva up there from every bow, from the experience to the Gen 1 to the Gen 2 to the Gen 3. She's been a great steward. But yeah, her and Paige, they have different lanes. Stay in your lane. They have different lanes. Eva's a hunter, and now she's doing a lot of lifestyle stuff. And Paige is a pro shooter. She makes her living with a bow in her hand.
But
Yeah.
Paige also hunts. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys can do whatever you
Yeah.
want. To me, just because you put banners of a person up doesn't mean that they're connecting with people that
Yeah.
actually buy bows. Sorry, I'm sorry, and maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no.
Listen, comment
Okay,
below.
well, hang on.
Comment below
Okay,
if
okay.
and use discount code BMAC for 10% off podiumarcher.com. Listen, comment below if you think I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, do it.
No, I think the reality of that whole situation is it's all within whatever budget they want to put in that
Yeah.
direction. And I think what Brandon's trying to say is maybe that's not wisely spent. But if you are expanding the budget and you feel like that's working to a given percentage, because as long as I've known and dealt with the company pre you,
Yeah.
they have not had much of a budget for that.
Yeah.
And that's like I'm trying to remember who you had a marketing guy at one point that ended up going away, and he actually told me what the budget is, and I was like, just quit.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? I was like, you aren't going to get anywhere in this against that. Like, you're screwed. You have no hope. You have no prayer.
no hope.
You have no chance. Just quit.
Yeah.
He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. Like, I know what
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z's is, and that's a joke.
Yeah.
Like, you can't compete.
No, and now the great thing about this is that, we are one of the most well-capitalized, I'd say, outdoor companies out there, and we are going to have the budget and the resources to be successful. The thing is that I feel like this is when being savvy in other areas of business comes in, because with marketing, when you're reporting to someone that's not yourself, like Matthews is a family-owned business. Like Matt reports to Matt. With Bowtech, for the past, 10 years since NEP bought it from, I don't even, was it Raven? I don't know. But Bowtech has had an owner, like a third-party owner, that had a person leading the company from a CEO, president position. And when you're spending marketing dollars, you have to net every one of those dollars back to an ROI. Like, you can't just be throwing marketing dollars out and just being like, oh, Oprah, you get a bow, you get a bow, you get a contract, you get a contract.
Sure.
Like, everything has to be calculated. You can't get over your skis. Like, we are a cyclical business. This is discretionary income. When the economy tightens up, bow companies have to tighten up. When the economy gets a little looser and everyone has a little bit more money, don't go over your skis so you don't have to make these drastic pullbacks where you're like, whoa, what? Did they just slash their entire budget? Like, what just happened? So you have to move tactically, and you have to be very calculated, and you have to be able to stand on a table with your pants down and justify every dollar you spent in marketing.
You don't think that Matthews and Hoyt are doing those same things?
No, they are, but the process is just not as scrutinizing. So
I would be really interested to see if that was the case, because I would imagine that they're probably saying the same things that you're saying. It's just maybe Matt's.
I disagree.
Really? Okay, you know more about it than I do.
Well, I know the largest marketing budget company just spends what they want to spend
yeah.
because they don't have to answer to anybody because one guy owns the company. Hoyt might be a little different scenario, but
Yeah.
Hoyt's also at its core is owned by Easton, and there's like
it's one guy,
a surplus of money, but that one guy has a business philosophy, and as long as they follow that philosophy, it's fine. This isn't a group of people of investment saying we're investing X, what's the Y, which is your ROI, right? They don't have the same thing. So hence why when the Tim and Kyle thing happened, after everyone's already spent their budget for the year and no one's got budget left, the company that has a flexible budget hired them.
Yeah.
Because they could.
And
like,
now
almost nobody else probably
we're
could.
going to be that. Like, we are not answering to a board. We're not answering to shareholders where we're like, hey, you know, we get this mandate to tighten up. Like, we've got leash here. We are there is alignment of interest, and they know what it takes from a marketing perspective to be successful in this industry. Ownership does, and they're prepared to provide us with the resources. Ideally, that's out of our resources because we're just generating so much free cash flow that we can just reinvest it into marketing. But you know, it's different. Like, every dollar's got to be accounted for, and the smart thing to do is to go in at the beginning of the year and think of the unthinkable. Think of the unthinkable that's going to happen when you're setting your budget, and say, like, this is what I'm going to need to pay everyone on staff right now. What happens if Tim goes on a crazy run and wins every tournament? We're having to pay $10,000 of contingency out every single tournament. You have to build in those contingencies when you're building your budget so that you don't get. I mean, that's what I think that was really what was happening.
That's 100% what
Kyle
happened.
and Tim
That's
were
100%
winning
what happened.
Everything, and Paige, and they're paying, like, we're bleeding money in the form of contingency.
That is on top of what their salary was. Their contingency was really high. And then the other kind of snafu within that is they didn't pay contingency to anybody else using a Bowtech bow but those 3 people.
Yeah. Did we not have open contingency back then?
No.
I thought we had open contingency for a period of time.
Not when they hired them.
Okay. That was my first move, by the way, when I came back, was bringing back open contingency.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, well, that'll have the aspiring people trying to buy your bow instead of somebody else's. It's like, well, I might actually make money if I win this tournament. And they literally went, these are the only 3 people that can get contingency. Yeah. Like, oh my god,
dude! I cannot wait. Do you shoot any?
It's been a long time. Before I had kids, but once I had kids, I stopped, and I haven't really picked it back up. And honestly, don't know if I will, from a standpoint of I'm too damn busy to invest the amount of time it takes to be really good at those things.
Yeah,
because I'd have to sacrifice so much of the growth that I'm trying to achieve, and I'm not. I don't mean in my business. I am trying to grow the sport as much as I can. I'm trying to get as many people in the sport as I can. I'm trying to make it as easy to enter the sport as I can. Barrier to entry lower, access easier. I'd have to sacrifice a percentage of that to go be really good at this. And I've accepted that is not the most important thing for my life.
No, you don't. Look, you don't open up a shop because you want to shoot more.
No.
Right? Like everyone knows
that is the worst decision in the world.
It's like you don't open up a shop because you want to hunt more.
No.
And so, but I'm so excited to get you guys in front of this new target bow. It's, oh my gosh. Like,
I'm excited to see
it. It is really exciting. I wish I could say more. But
there's a time for it.
We're trying to do this, execute on this relocation, and then try to have new product launch is
it's a disaster. Like you're taking on way too much.
I don't even know standard costs because I don't know how efficient we're going to be manufacturing through this facility. So I'm just guessing at overhead rates and guessing at labor rates, and like we're making a lot of assumptions. But like, you know, when you're figuring out how much you can charge for a bow in order to like make a profit, like that's some important things to know. And so, you know,
you're just going to run some models and then put that shit through Claude and just pray that they kind of match up and see what happens.
Well, and I would like to think that ownership would understand the reality of what they're expecting you to face and go, hey, this is what we think it's going to be, and here's where it is here, and we're just hoping that we're somewhere close. And if it doesn't work out great, it doesn't work out great, but this is an impossible situation I've been put in, and I'm going to make the best of it as I can.
When we're gonna everything's gonna be great. We're gonna get the target bow out. Paige and Tim and Tate are gonna shoot it at Coleman at the ASA Classic, and so that's gonna be our teaser soft launch. And so you're probably not gonna see any marketing materials come out from Bowtech about the target bow until probably October.
But this stuff will get shared more through it being in their hands. That's the crazy part. Who cares about a marketing material that goes out when the marketing material is Paige and Tim?
Yeah.
That's what will get
proliferated. When will you actually be able to look it up publicly?
Yeah, so on launch date. So
Which launch date
Launch
is?
date will be in October. Like
Okay, so they're going to be running around with it for a while, but you won't actually be able to look anything up.
No, it's like a soft launch. We don't want to launch it and people will not be able to go into the shop and shoot it. And so, I mean, we're trying to wind down operations in Eugene, simultaneously spin operations up in Houston, maintain parallel operations, maintain quality standards.
Sure.
Very key there.
Very key there.
Quality standards while we're having parallel operations. And so basically we're going to trickle the target bow out this year. We're going to give a critical amount of volume out. Good thing is like a target bow is not the type of volume you're talking about with a flagship hunting bow.
Well, yeah, most shops aren't even going to stock it.
Yeah.
So it's not like an issue in that
Most
regard.
of it's going to live within the custom configurator on our website. And so we're going to
other than
trickle
me,
that
I'll
out.
stock it.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
And a pretty decent amount of them.
Yeah, I think you're going to really like it. Anyways, I'm excited to, like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I want to get together and like show you guys it and build some, and we can all shoot and maybe we can find some time to do that. But
I'll hold the camera for you guys.
Yeah. No, Brandon, I think you have a long draw length. I think like a 36 target bow would be something that you could do really well with, and like some 3D stuff. You do some 3D stuff, right?
Yeah. I'll go do stuff with these. I'll go do stuff with these guys. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the
We
same part.
dabble.
I've got a young son, and we're gonna have another kid in December.
Oh, congrats!
Thank you.
man.
Super excited about that. I don't know if I've said that on here.
You have not.
Well, there we go.
Like, oh, he said it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll ask Jocelyn and see if we want to cut it out. But like, and then we're also building a house at the same time. So like, I'm just in a season of life right now.
You are in a season. You are in a busy season.
The motorcycle's getting dusty too. I had all the spider webs on it the other day. I was like, oh no, this is that's where we're
What
at.
is it with putting way too much shit on a plate that we have a
I know.
tendency to?
Human beings are so silly about that.
it's so stupid.
I think it's archery people too. It's just part of archery is being relentless, and I think that turning that off once you come out of the woods is hard. Right? Like you're relentless when you're pursuing game in the woods, and then just going back and saying, I'm going to work my 9 to 5 and then I'm going to go home and like watch TV and veg. It's like that. You can't just turn that off.
That's what gun hunters do, those lazy bastards.
You're not wrong. You're
like,
not wrong.
That's why I think it's a common trait for people in this industry. But I think, we're gonna trickle the target bow out. We're gonna get it out in October. We did a podcast with Greg and Bow Junkie, and he was like, so the most important question, how much is this bad boy gonna cost? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, are you serious? And I was like, dude, I don't know what standard cost is gonna be on this thing. But I mean, like I told Greg, you're not gonna see a material increase in price versus the Reckoning. Like it's got a lot more it's a lot more bow. It's a lot of bow. And so I'd expect a little bit of a jump, but I don't anticipate anyone's gonna have sticker shock over we're gonna be right in line with market.
Target bows is one of those, and maybe you have an opinion. I feel like if the serious target bow people, they're not going to complain over like a $300 difference between you and like whatever a Matthews. If they go, no, I just like this bow better, they might outwardly be like, oh, this was cheaper, but I think they still pay the money. What do you think? Maybe I'm wrong.
I think price. Well, as long as we're talking a 15%, 20% variance in overall retail, I don't think they give two shits how much it costs. I think they buy what they want and like. Now, with the exception of like the Supra a couple years ago from PSE that was just so much cheaper than everything else. Outside of that, I don't see it, man. I really don't. I think they buy what they think shoots the best, and they don't care what it costs.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to get complaints
No.
if the price goes up drastically. And I mean, for where the Reckonings were versus where like a Hoyt and a Matthews are at retail now, that's quite a bit higher. Honestly. Oh, sorry.
Are you bored of talking about target bows?
No, 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row.
I don't know.
Really poor sleep and probably like.
Well, you got it
4 to
so
5.
late last night. That was
What time
stupid.
did you get in last night?
I went to bed at like 1:30 last night. Got up at 6, and then what killed me is the day before I had to get up at 2 to get my flight. Get up, deal with the fact that my flight was basically canceled. I was gonna get delayed so bad that I was missing connections. Had to call Delta, get everything reset up, resquared up. So now an hour's gone by. I'm wide awake, and I'm like, hey, go back to bed for 3 hours. I tried. I think I eventually slept for like an hour. So that was like a 4-hour disrupted sleep cycle total day before, and then like what, 5, 4.5,
something like that.
yesterday. I'll sleep good tonight.
The podcast on low sleep is tough. Like keeping the brain focused and dialed in. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much time we've got. But we
don't have a limit, dude.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about the hunting bow lineup.
That's what
too.
I wanted to talk about too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Target's great, but we're a hunting bow manufacturer at the end of the day. And
before we jump into that, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
How much of like the target bow and the hunting bow is you at this point making decisions? Was some of this pre-done? Because I got mixed things in the back that I talked to some people about, like this might not be your full baby this year, but next year is, and I just wanted feedback from you on that.
That's a really tough question to answer. That's why I
have to take accountability for it because of where I'm at with
yep. It's so tough. Like honestly, I didn't even want to do a like everyone at Bowtech and everyone of my buddies in the industry, they're like, dude, you need to get on a podcast. Like Bowtech needs a face bad. Like yesterday, you need to get on a podcast, tell your story. Like people are going to resonate with it and get some interest and some hype building in Bowtech. And I was like, dude, I haven't done anything. Like, they're like, what do you mean you haven't done anything? You're executing this huge relocation. You've already made all these initiatives. And I'm like, I want the product. Like I'm an engineer. I want the product. Like that's what I want at the end of the day. And my favorite saying is don't talk about it, be about it. Like my best thing would have been, I showed up a day early. I've got the brand new hunting lineup for this year, and it's sitting on the table right here, and we all shot it for an hour. We're like, holy crap, like this is crazy. Like this is mine, right?
Well, we're gonna do that.
Yes,
it's just for in a couple months or something, all right?
I know. That's when it's really gonna be fun. Like that's gonna be fun. And so that's a really good question. And it's these product cycles, they're short, but they're long. Like these product roadmaps are like 3-4 years out.
Yes.
And so obviously we've blown up everything that's not like on the go right now and reworked everything. I mean, the next bow that comes out November of 2027, October and November, I hate the ATA launch, but we're going to have to do it this year with the relo. I'm like, peg space, dude. Like, you got to capitalize on the peg space.
You know how many bows get sold from November 15th till January 7th?
I know. It's when I was modeling it out, it's like that's your window. And so anyways, so November of 27, I'm like, that is going to be really the first bow from soup to nuts that's got my fingerprint on it. That being said, everything that was in the product pipeline, we've tweaked. So the new target bow, for example, like we heavily tweaked with Paige's feedback and we executed on that feedback. And that was a decision that we made. And I'm really happy where that project sit. I mean, I couldn't build a better target bow. That thing's incredible. The new hunting bow for this year, we were still deciding on what direction to go. We needed a relatively light engineering lift for this year with all the things that we had on the go.
Sure.
And so we worked together and we have a platform that we're really, really excited about. And so, I think that bow's going to do well for us. Is it my dream bow from, the ground up?
Sure.
No, but am I going to shoot it? Absolutely. Is it a phenomenal bow? Absolutely. Does it match up with the competition? Absolutely. Like, we did some really cool things where we blended some technology from the target bow into the hunting platform. And without saying too much, it's like, I think that bow is going to really resonate with people, especially like people who are interested in long range precision shooting with a hunting platform.
For sure.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And the answer is not much. Like the target bow, I feel bad talking about it because like that's Josh's baby. I mean,
sure.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with that. You can just, as long as you emphasize that, I just think it's important and relevant since you're now the face of the company. We're acknowledging that and that you're moving to Houston and all these things.
Yeah.
I think it's important to know at what point your influence in the product really takes over.
Yeah.
Doesn't make the product worse by any means or anything like that. It's just you haven't had the opportunity
how
to do
that's a tough,
I know, but it's reality.
It
right?
is.
It's reality. You've got to take, okay, here's what we're building.
Yeah.
How can we improve on it before we get to launch?
Yeah.
And then how can we keep directing what I think it should be after the fact?
You nailed it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I know. It's just, it's just, it's tough. You don't want to say, oh, save it because this year,
you're not saying that
you're going to come out because it's a great product that we're coming out with this year, and we're all super stoked about it. I'm interested to hear your review on it.
I will most definitely give you one.
Just make sure the specs are accurate when you send them out. Don't add a half
don't
pound.
put a number on paper that doesn't match.
Dude, I want to talk about this. This is an interesting thing to talk about.
Sure.
Okay, so when you're doing speed test on a bow,
yep,
it would be my contention on if we send a bow a little spicy, or any manufacturer sends a bow a little spicy, taking the limb pocket off and backing it off the riser to get to 70 pounds to do an IBO speed rating, we've now completely changed the intended geometry and efficiency that the bow's been built in.
I agree.
And so I think it would be cool to just either maybe even untwisting the cables. It's like, man, the limbs were kind of intended to be preloaded at that point. But maybe just shoot a grained out arrow. We could do that.
That gets really tricky.
I know. I
know. Now I need grained out arrows at every 5 grain increment to achieve it. No, do it. No. I want the criticism. I want to know what I need to do differently. I'm 100% into that, but I do measure everything before I adjust the limb weight.
Yeah.
Which is why I take every measurement and say, okay, let's get this to 70 pounds and let's do that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I've done it that way. I do wonder if there's really that much of a speed difference at all in those scenarios. But I can tell you this much: I've never gotten a bow that I didn't have to change the limb bolt weight on. Period.
Yeah.
Every single one. No, I've never got one that hit 70.0 on the nose.
Yeah.
They're all 71 to 75.
Yeah.
And somewhere in between.
And I think that's because people want their bow to come in a little hot.
They should.
Yeah.
They should, and that should be valid and
once
normal.
cables stretch in, yeah.
And if I got a bow that weighed 70.0 when I got it off the rack, I'd be like, send me something else. You guys fucked with this.
Yeah.
There is no way. There is no way that this is just a straight up, we just threw this together and sent it. This was manipulated for sure. I'm not against that. That might be something that's feasible, but then the whole explaining to Joe Schmo that your speed doesn't actually get faster as you increase your poundage versus increase your arrow weight.
Yeah.
It doesn't change it at all, because the number of comments, well, you shot that one at 60, you shot that one at 70. That's why that one's faster. I was like, you are ignorant, but but trying to explain that would be harder.
Don't even try with this.
Trying to explain that would be harder than I just need to adjust the limb bolt weight. And I guarantee you it costs speed more twisting in these string cables to get the weight down than it does changing
I would
the limb
rather
bolt.
have, I don't know, I'd probably rather have my limbs set where they're supposed to be set versus have my pocket a little bit off the riser.
I mean, what if you shot one just as the bow shipped in, and you just said, all right, here's how they shipped it in, and here's what it is, and then when I get it to what it should be, here's what it is. I don't know that because I think I'm not really sure.
I think because then people are gonna just be sending you like a 70-pounder that's like 77 pounds.
Well, he'd call it out.
Yeah,
and he would just say, hey, this is what's happening. See, I'm trying to decide.
I think
what
you just
helps
shoot a
the
grained
consumer.
out 5 grains a pound. 5 grains per pound.
So
and then you're really seeing
that wouldn't be as hard on the this would be tricky, but that wouldn't be as hard on just the 5 GPI. When I try to do the 350, 450, 550, now I've got 3 different, or 650. I've got 3 different sets of arrows. I got to try GPI out 3 different times. That would be difficult, but I could do it at one.
Realistic speed metrics again?
29, 65, 450.
29. I like 29, 65, 450. I think you may need to tweak the 65. Feel like people are getting heavier.
I don't disagree with you, but are you still nationally overall? That's more common.
Yeah.
And that was, I was going to do it at 70. Scotty and T-Bone both said it should be 65. It's more common.
That's fair.
It's
you got
more
a good
common.
panel there.
Well, it was when he brought it up, because I was like, they were like, why doesn't this happen? We were all kind of pissed about it. And I'm like, well, I'll do it. What do you want it to be? What do you think's right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I agreed with everything but the 65, because Western, we tend to shoot more weight. Eastern, they tend to shoot less weight. 90% of the bow hunters are east of the Mississippi River, so I kind of didn't argue on the lighter part. But I think that's a really fair metric, and I think that's probably the most common.
I agree. I think that the one argument I would have there is the weight. But 450 grain arrow, exactly like most arrows that I build for whitetail guys, and you know, even now, how good the components are getting and how good the arrows are getting, light doesn't necessarily mean weak anymore. I mean, you could send someone to go, guys can kill elk all day with a 425 grain arrow, 415 grain arrow.
Josh is just sitting over there going, "You're 100 grains too heavy."
No, you can't get something to work that light. But I've been sub 4.
Yeah, and I like the fact that, you know, you make those titanium components. I think that's a huge win for the industry, and I think that someone should be out there advocating. Like, I think Iron Will does this really well on impact strength versus Rockwell hardness.
Yep.
Like, that is a huge deal, I think. And I know we're not talking bows anymore, but like, it's something like people come out like really sexy knife steels that everyone knows the name of. They're like, oh man, you could build a broadhead or a component out of this. And it's like, yeah, it's a great knife steel, but the impact resistance on this is like,
it's gonna blow up when you hit something hard.
No bueno. And you know, I've been a proponent of like light and fast. You get range forgiveness is what I think
there's so many variables that go into effectively shooting an animal that the penetration power is a percentage of it, but it's not a big percentage of it. It's a medium percentage of it, because the majority of us are shooting way more energy than you should need to shoot through anything. And the biggest hindrance that you're getting is the type of broadhead that you're putting on the front of it, not the mass weight of the object.
Yeah.
The mass weight of the object has very little to do with it.
If that arrow is impacting square
tunability.
Yeah. Is that, are you shooting a well-tuned bow? Like, people are like, oh.
And now we're back to the easiest bow to tune.
Yeah. And look at you. So
it is. It's legit. It's not even close.
This is where it shines to people, is when I'm on the range, is with the Bowtech. Is that, so I'll be on the range with someone and I'm like, okay, we're shooting 50-yard field round, right? Okay, so go shoot a fletch shaft at the field target. Bang. Go shoot a bear shaft, pull a bear shaft out. And they're like 8 inches to the right. And it's like, oh my gosh, what, like, yeah, you could be torquing the bow, but then, you know, group tune it again with bear shaft consistently, like, to the right. Okay, you've got a tail left tear. Like,
it's just so small you can't see it through paper.
You can't see it through paper, especially shooting like 3.2s or like, you know, and you got a tail left tear. Okay, just top cam, boop, like little adjustment, boom, and you see your arrows walk in like that. It's like the light bulb goes off, and it's like, oh my gosh,
it's all cam orientation. It's not anything else.
Stand there with an Allen set, and that's it.
And you can micro so much more than you could do like back in the day, like putting twists in and out of yokes.
Yes.
Like, I was the biggest fan of like the spiral cam from Hoyt.
Yep.
Like, I loved that cam.
That thing pointed. You shot it at an exact length because you couldn't not.
Yeah. And I love that cam, and it was so easy to tune. But there would be a lot of times where I'd be like, oh, that was too much. Oh, that was not enough. And it's like, okay, I'm messing with like putting a little deep piece of D-loop cord or like serving in there to try to manipulate it
just a little bit.
Trying to get just a little bit. And
we call that the Matthews timing feature.
Dude, you're not wrong.
No one is immune from Brandon's
no, he does. He'll
like,
shed all over you. You don't care.
I don't care.
He's like, I don't have any financial dog in any of this stuff.
Dude,
I'm not selling anything.
That's probably why.
Shit.
That's your credibility right there. You're like, I don't care.
Yes.
I'll just talk shit.
Yeah, for anyone curious, Brandon has no financial ties to my business or archery in any facet whatsoever. He just likes it.
Let's be real, though. If we were all talking at a bar, we would be
saying the same thing.
We would be saying the same thing.
It's kind of what we're going for in this scenario.
Yeah. And so, anyways, it's just, that's where it really shines, I think, for people, is when we're out on the range. We're either shooting broadheads after field points, like big fixed blades after field points, or if we're shooting, like, if we're target, we're shooting like bear shafts after fletch shafts. And I think that's when the deadlock really shines. And the fact that you don't have to go back into the shop, put it in a press, pull the axle, shims are falling everywhere, or, you know, you're not worried about like, you know, limb tip stability or anything as you're manipulating your axle along your cam along your axle. I think it's the best system. And I think, you know, unfortunately for the market, fortunately for us, we've got the IP, and I think there's been some really creative ways to develop a pressless tuning feature. I still think Bowtechs is the best.
Let's just settle this right now. If your technology was open use everyone would use it and they throw away what they make.
Yeah. Yeah.
They would. It works better. And they all know it. They were all, I've talking to them for 5, 6, 7 years. They're trying to figure out a way around it. Because it works so good.
Litigious industry I've ever been into in my entire life. I was not prepared for this. My mother's an attorney. My father's an attorney. My sister's an attorney. All my aunts and uncles are attorneys.
Have free attorneys to help you with.
Congratulations.
Talking about active litigation, ongoing litigation was like not uncommon. Legge family dinner time conversation. I think I was in my seat like 5 days before I got my first demand letter, and I was like freaking out. I was like, we get this all the time. Yeah. And I was like, why are we suing the crap out of each other? Yes, the IP is what makes the company, but like we all understand that. If there's a fundamental part of your intellectual property design in your bow, then we're going to like have a mutual agreement. We're not going to go there. But you get pressure from like your consumer base. Like the consumer base put huge pressure on the manufacturers to develop a pressless tuning feature because everyone wanted to be like Bowtech. And they delivered. And then, and people found a way around the patent and not to do a threaded axle. But with other little small stuff, it's like, why can't we just have a mutual agreement that we're just going to call each other? It's like, hey, call me.
Dude, please work on that. Because, okay, so that's the.
I think I'm just
a lawyer will tell you not to do that.
I think I'm just naive.
No, I don't disagree because I had a product idea at one point and I knew there was a patent in existence that could possibly violate. So I just called him. I was like, hey, here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a violation of your patent before we get down that road? He said, I guarantee you it is, and I'll send you my patent, and I'll highlight exactly in my patent where I think that is. And I read it, and I'm like, that is the broadest patent I've ever heard in my life. And I would agree. You could infringe for sure. And whoever rubber stamped that one for you, hats off, buddy. That is incredible that it's that broad.
Yeah, this is a cute problem that we have right now. But you know what's happened is we've created a roadmap for Chinese manufacturing to literally go, that's a beautiful piece of IP that you have. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and we're going to throw it on this bow, and then we're going to ship it into your country for a third of the price.
Yeah.
And that is what has happened for many items in the archery industry.
We have limited recourse because it's manufactured in China.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's a problem.
And because there's so many patents that are getting filed, they're literally figuring out the exact way this stuff is built. Now, I get it. They can probably reverse engineer it, but would it slow them down? It just seems, I don't know, it seems like everybody's shooting themselves in the foot just a little bit with this and incurring a bunch more cost.
I agree. And I think the rational, logical way to approach it is what I said and what you're thinking, Brandon. It's like, hey, why don't we just have like a summit twice a year and like we all get together and just talk about it, and we just have open communication. But then you just get into so many gray areas like Josh is saying where it's like, really, that's not advisable. And
well, think of it from the standpoint if you're talking about every brand getting together and talking about that. Well, let's say you have an idea. You have an idea that you think might infringe on Matthews.
Yeah.
You don't need Hoyt sitting across there listening to the conversation that you're having with Matthews. That would be your problem there. If you get to the point where like, hey, can we just have a civil conversation about this? I don't want to get into a problem.
Yeah.
Here's where we're at. Here's what we're thinking. That I could see, but like all getting together, that there's no way you could do that.
Yeah.
But even that first part is such a tough one.
But I just wish that, people would understand, like, obviously we had litigation around defending a piece of IP that we had. And I feel like the consumer base was like, oh, big, bad Bowtech. And it's like, dude, we're a small company. Like, that's the most foundational piece of our IP. And we were just like defending our intellectual property. And I think that there's just got to be a better way to handle it, because until we develop a way where it's like amicable, I think that you're just going to continue to see that scrutinization from our consumers, and they're going to thumb their nose at it because, let's be real, also, people just don't like attorney. Like, people just don't like that part of the business. They think it's slimy. But
you can't be as naive as to believe that even if you have an idea for your product that you truly believe doesn't violate a patent, if it functions in a similar manner as a company that has financial resources and you don't have financial resources, you're going to fail. Because at the end of the day, if you think it infringes on your tech, you have to defend it.
Yeah.
Right? And if you think it doesn't defend on your on their tech, then you have to defend it.
Yeah.
And both of those things require money and attorneys.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. It's a shitty system. It sucks.
Yeah.
I've been an advocate for, hey, when you develop and design an IP that is you think is uniquely yours, I think it should be the responsibility. This feels non-capitalistic to a degree, but I think it should be the responsibility of the patent office that if you're going to sit there and review that and say, yes, that is uniquely your idea, then that patent office should determine the value of that patent.
Good luck.
Per item. I know, but if you think you're high and mighty enough to determine that this is a unique idea, then you should be high and mighty enough to determine the value of such idea
from a royalty perspective
per item.
Yeah.
And when you stamp that and say, this is a patent, this patent's worth $7 per usage.
Yeah.
That should be on there. And then, because the whole patent thing's stupid in general. Yes? Do we agree with this?
Well, then you're kind of like, I mean, I think we're all aligned politically at this table, but then you're kind of giving the
Big Kamala
government
Harris
like,
guy.
Well, no, fuck you. No,
you're giving the government like
hold on.
more power to like determine how much.
But we're
IP
already
is worth.
giving the government the power to say whether or not this is uniquely our idea.
Yeah, that's true.
They already have it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to give them that power, they should have to put a value to it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. And we think back to when you guys got the patent issued for the deadlock.
Yeah.
All that would have to happen in that scenario is that would have to be predetermined, the value per usage of your patent.
Yeah.
And you can't keep it to yourself, but anyone can pay you for the usage of it. We would not end up with 7 different tuning systems on 7 different bows to try to do what you guys did.
But to that point,
Likely, anyway.
No one's called me and asked me for a royalty on deadlock.
This was 7 years ago. You weren't there 7 years ago. Are you
I
sure
know,
no one's ever
I
called?
know no
Nobody's
one's
called
called
him
me, but
Right.
like since I've been in this seat, like
Well,
no
sure,
one's
but
called me.
that's because that ship has sailed.
I would still rather have that tuning feature than any of the other ones on the market.
I get that, but those calls were made well before you ever got there, and the
Yeah.
answer was no.
Yeah.
It wasn't a negotiation.
Yeah.
It wasn't a financial incentivization. It was no.
Yeah.
Close the door.
But
we are not sharing this.
Call me now.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I love it.
I'm not telling people that this is gonna like we're just gonna be handing out royalties for deadlock, but I'm gonna have the conversation,
Dude, that's
like,
the best attitude to have. That's the best attitude to have.
What's the alternative? Is like I'm just gonna shut myself off and go hide in my cave
That's
somewhere.
what, and then fire Tim Gillingham again. That's exactly what the last guys did.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that would solve the whole patent problem.
Yeah.
Right? So then you don't have China taking the tech and just knocking it off, and there's only one source that it comes from. Now we all want to fight that whole thing.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh, they're getting screwed over there, boo-hoo, poor them.
That's what I want at the end of the day. It's like we all need to come together and like there is room. Matthews is not our enemy. PSC is not our enemy. Hoyt's not our enemy. Like we all are on the same team here. Like, and that's what I want to foster. And when you start getting into ongoing litigation, it makes it really hard for us to sit down and have a civil conversation because like anyone knows, and like we ran into with the last podcast you did with someone from Bowtech, you can't talk publicly about ongoing litigation when you could be named or be deposed. Like
Right.
That's a no-no. And so it just, I wish we could just, and this is all just me wanting everyone to be happy and friends and all sing Kumbaya together. But I just, for the love of the industry, I wish it could be that way. But
The truth is, if there were no patents, we'd have better bows because everybody be grabbing the best parts of everybody's bow and building the Franken bow. But it would hurt individual manufacturers that were coming up with really good ideas.
Unless there was a price established to each individual one for each individual application of use.
I hate that idea
Yeah.
because then you get the government deciding.
I don't hate it. I think that there's good and bad things. I don't like the government deciding what my IP is worth because I think I would just always think that they're devaluing.
Well, I don't like the government deciding whether or not your IP is truly your IP.
Yeah. That's true.
Because there's 1 or 2 people in that office that just stamp everything that comes across a desk.
That's when I think,
that's an interesting
like, that's
point.
where I respect Josh Stevens, who's one of our design engineers. We have a great engineering team holistically, but Josh in particular has done a ton of research into patent law, and like when he drafts a thesis for something that he develops, like he not only covers like his way that we have designed of doing it, but he thinks of 5 other ways that you could also design it to achieve the same purpose, but it's like, this is the optimal way, but I'm going to think of 5 other ways so that like really we're not just out there filing like design patents for, you know, an aesthetic feature that's like, oh, you know, our riser cutout is like this and we have bridging here and we're going to file a patent on it. It's like, I don't have to pay legal fees on that. Like, fine, knock it off. I don't care. But like, you know, I don't know. I hate talking about patents.
It sucks.
Attorneys
It sucks.
Like,
It truly sucks.
Yeah,
like it really does. Like I said, I don't want the government to determine a value, but I don't want the government to issue a patent either.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna, that would be a logical end to the conflicts.
What do you think of mag risers?
I think when done correctly, I think it's superior. When done correctly, I think it's superior, and that's what I told. Trying to remember who called me originally when you were coming out with the other one, and I tried it. There was something with the Virtue that felt drastically different than almost anyone I'd ever tried.
Yeah.
I think it's superior when done correctly. I do not think it's been perfectly done correctly yet.
I think, yeah, I'd agree with that on the face of it. I think the Virtue stands out among all the other mag risers that have been built. I think if you look at just that riser, take the grip, whatever the grip is, but just take the geometry of the riser, how well balanced it is, and how it responds on the shot. That riser is damn near as perfect of a riser as you can get. I know you shot the Virtue.
Depending on what draw length you shoot it at.
Yeah, well,
that was my problem.
It's a 32-inch ATA. You shouldn't be in a 32-inch axle-to-axle bow. I think a 32-inch axle-to-axle bow is no man's land. I really think it is.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I don't want to build 32-inch axle-to-axle bows. Like, it's a great Western hunting platform for me, but I think that Eastern guys and Texas whitetail guys that are hunting in those blinds are badass. Do you own that company?
Yeah.
Those are sweet.
Thank you.
Are you selling a lot of those in Texas?
Not yet. I'm
Texas
trying
guys
to get in
would
there.
Eat that shit.
Oh, I should show you the new one.
Okay, so
yeah, that's the old one.
But Texas guys and Eastern guys, they want to hunt with like a 28 to a 30. Like, I have no idea how many people in my club are still coming in with like Creed SSs and Z7 Extremes and like, you know, all these or CP 28s. And they want to hunt with the short bow. They want it like as short, as compact, as maneuverable as I want. I'm going to be in a saddle or a blind. Like, I don't want it hitting my leg or whatever. And then the Western guys, there's a lot of guys in Oregon that I talk to who are like, I'm not going to shoot if it's under 34 inches axle-to-axle.
Correct.
And I'm like, okay, then why are we building a 32-inch axle-to-axle bow? And so... anyways, that's my philosophy. I really like, I know I've been glazing Matthews a lot, but I really like how Hoyt does their lineup every year.
Yep.
I like how they have a premium riser material bow to serve that like $2,000 price point, and then machined aluminum riser to hit that like $1,500 price point, and they do a long axle-to-axle and a short axle-to-axle in each variation.
Yep.
I think it skews them up a lot, and so your efficiency kind of goes down.
It does.
And then as a shop, it's like, shoot, like, do I know my consumer base enough to know like what I really want to stock, and like, am I gonna sell the machined aluminum long axle-to-axle platform? I don't know. You know, it opens up a lot of questions, but from a consumer basis, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I've got everything
I'm with you on that.
to choose from. You know, I'm like, do I want to ball out and spend $2,000 on a carbon bow? Okay, great. So that puts me in these. Okay, I can get a long axle-to-axle or a short axle-to-axle in either of those. Do I just like the feel of a heavier bow and I like the response that a 70-75 aluminum machined riser gives me? Boom, then I'm going to stay in this lane. Or do I just not want to spend $2,000 on a bow? So I like how they do that. I think that's, you know, really a nice product offering.
Do you like that
from Hoyt?
I think it's the smartest thing. I understand why some brands like Matthew. Let's just put names out. Matthews does a 30 and a 34, or they did before like a 29
We're not saying
and a 33.
anything bad. I'm saying good stuff about it.
They just make aluminum bows. They don't offer a higher level of that. But I think it's the census that the most successful companies are doing that. They're making a longer and a shorter. The shorter's around 30, the longer's around 34. give or take some flexibility, and the fact that Hoyt offers you a premium and a more price conscientious version is just superior.
Yeah, but
it just is. But they're going to make less profit overall.
Yeah,
because each brand's probably going to sell. If you end up settling on thinking a Hoyt's better, you're going to buy a Hoyt. If you end up settling on thinking a Matthews is better, you're going to buy a Matthews. So they're probably not selling more bows because of it, but they're meeting their customers' need better.
Forecasting becomes a pain
Forecasting
in the butt.
is a bitch.
Yeah,
and the difference between the two every year does this.
So
it is wild. Like one year it's like this, and the next year it's like that, and you're like, what is going on?
And nothing.
Oh my God!
No, you can't
do anything about it.
You can't analyze it from a trend perspective because it does that. And I think that you become a build to order shop at that point because you just can't forecast it. You can try to build up like vanilla state inventory, like mill state risers, and say, okay, we'll just decorate. But then you add in, we're going to have 10 color variations, and then right hand, left hand, like, and then us and Hoyt, we have individual limbs that are deflected for our poundages. Matthews is just one limb, right?
Right.
But we have individual limbs, so then you have limb batching and all there, and then you have limbs where it's like, okay, this deflection doesn't match this deflection, so we've got to.
People have no idea that all this stuff goes on behind the scenes. Like when you guys start talking about this
the average
stuff,
person has
people
no clue.
They're just like, why can't you guys just like make me a bow that I want and put it in a shop and I'll buy it?
I didn't realize it until I was in this seat. And so, but yeah, I mean, we should have transparency. Like that's why I'm excited for this is because like we can chat and the everyday consumer can like see behind the curtain at like some of the things that we go through running an archery manufacturer. I mean, it's American manufacturing for a very, very niche product, but it's still manufacturing at the end of the day. We're making widgets and you got to have quality standards and you've got to have, critical dimension analysis and tolerancing and batching, and you got to be efficient. And all these things are just realities of the industry.
And that's people will listen to this and they'll go, I appreciate that about him. Like, I appreciate that he's letting us in behind the scenes and talking about some of the challenges and not just acting like everything's incredible. It's going to be perfect.
Everything is awesome.
Exactly. They're like, we're trying to make stuff half in Oregon, half in Houston, and this is hard as shit.
Catch me in 2 years. And it's just going to be like, I'm going to be so mellow. And Bowtech's just going to have these badass bows and we're all going to be shooting them and the world's going to be great. But
I would love a 34 or 35 mag riser that didn't have that.
I kept asking him,
weird
like,
little snappy snap.
Okay, when's it coming? When's it coming? I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, you're
kill
an idiot.
for that too. I wonder if we know a guy who could do that.
I wonder if we
Wouldn't
know
that
a
be
guy
great?
who could do that.
Wouldn't that be great?
So sick.
No, it makes great sense. It's logical, and but I think when they undertook that, and then the dollars were involved in it and whatnot, and somebody started pulling back on the reins of we can't get this broad, and do we sell enough of them to justify it and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're releasing this product, and how well did the release go, and is it the wrong time of year to release a product, and is that why it didn't take off as well, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I get so much pushback on the mag though. Like I really think from a material science perspective, magnesium alloy, it's because people think it's like the old molded mag bows from back in the 90s.
That's guys that are like his age and older that think about that stuff. Like the new generation, they don't know that those bows exploded and lit on fire. Like they didn't know that.
I just think that we need to message it. You know what I like calling it? I like calling it the carbon fighter, because it's like that's really cool. What it is. It's a carbon fighter. Like it is an optimal material from 70-75 aluminum to build a riser out of a compound bow riser. And I think that it has different unique properties in sourcing the material and machining the material where it makes it more expensive. Similar to like a laid up carbon riser requires a ton of handwork.
Right.
A ton of handwork. That's why it's not just going through a CNC and it's just like, being programmed and there's a CNC machine operator who's just running it through. There's a ton of handwork that is required in those risers, and that's why they're more expensive, and that's why every single one is different. There's a reason why there's no carbon target bows out there. And so I think it's the optimal material to make a riser. I think you look at the Virtue, that bow doesn't have a lot of hand shock. It's not very loud. The material almost acts like a composite in the way it absorbs vibration and it deadens sound. And I think that's when you get into really, really light bows. That's what you start getting. You get you get louder, and it feels like you're hitting a baseball at the end of the bat.
Anybody who makes a lighter and a heavier bow with everything else being equal, the lighter bow's always louder.
Always louder. Yeah. But the mag has unique properties where it deadens some of that noise and vibration coming into the riser. And I think there's some unique ways we could build a riser to even enhance that.
That's the move.
Yeah.
Is keep working on the deadening and the sound. Because from a hunting perspective,
that's one of the most important things.
Exactly. And we'll ask the question at the end, which is, what are animals reacting to? The sound of the bow, the sound of the arrow, the side of the arrow. Don't answer it yet.
Okay.
We'll get to the end.
Yeah. Think about that.
But as a bow manufacturer, no one is going to argue that the quieter the bow is going to be on the shot, the better.
Yeah. I think that still to this day, the quietest bow I've ever heard was the Phase 4 from Matthews. It was before they tweaked the cam and made it a little hotter.
Mm-hmm.
And
the bow was still heavy.
And it was heavy.
It was heavy, and then it
had the rubber.
And it had the rubber gasket through the limbs.
Yep.
And that bow, I remember being in a shop, and all of a sudden I heard it, and I was like, what was that? I was like, it made a weird, I was like, it was so dead.
Yeah.
I was like, is that someone shooting like a kid's bow?
That's yes.
And then I was like, whoa. And now they've made it hotter, and it's not as like noticeably quiet versus the field.
Mm-hmm.
But that bow was pretty cool, just how quiet it was compared to the field.
But I think that you guys also start winning the 3-yard game more the quieter those bows get, because as people are shooting 4 or 5 bows next to each other, and they snap off a carbon Hoyt, and then they snap off the mag bow.
Yeah, I know. It's
the carbon fighter.
Crazy.
They go, whoa.
Well, also the tolerance that we can machine that to is like, really, really tight, a thou.
They look great. The finish on mine was nice. The only issue I had was my ring wore the finish off pretty quick on the front of the grip. So
I think it was Cerakote riser, but anyway, we can fix that. There's like a coating that we can put on it that's like an anti-corrosive coating. We're playing around with it a lot. I really like the mag. I don't really like carbon. Carbon just kind of freaks me out because there's so much handwork that goes into carbon. And it's so expensive, it's so time consuming, and it's so inconsistent from a quality.
The inconsistent one is really interesting.
Yeah, it's really inconsistent from a quality perspective. Maybe I'll speak for myself. Like, we made a carbon bow.
Yeah, you can speak from experience. You made a carbon bow.
We made a carbon bow. So we'll just say this is just for Bowtech. Like, not hating on anything. One of my favorite bows, I don't know how this bow shot for me. One of my favorite bows I've shot was that Mach 30 PSE.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that bow. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna shoot this bow well. I was like, there's so much reflex in this riser. I was like, this bow will not point for me, no way. And then I picked it up and I was like, wow, that bow performs really well. So great. There's a carbon bow I really like,
but it may have been that one.
Yeah,
like you might have picked up 2 more of them and been like, why is it different?
Yeah, so I think the mag is really unique, and I think that messaging it as like the carbon fighter, I'm gonna have to coin that and give it to Todd and just say, hey, go make a marketing campaign around this. But I think that is a cool strategy to have that premium riser material, but it's just the market understanding, hey, this is our alternative to carbon. I think this is a better alternative. I think you'd agree that it's probably a better alternative.
Yeah, the only
with a caveat.
The only thing I can say negatively about it is, in the exception of yours, I'm pretty sure every other one I ever tried, it was more tingy than a carbon.
Well, it's the outside of that specific alloy you get.
Yeah, but outside of it, like, yours didn't sound like that. Like, when I first shot it, I was like, what the hell is going on? Because that should have had way more vibration in my hand, and I didn't feel it, and I didn't hear it. It was mid on decibel testing, if I remember right. But like out of all the mag bows, it was the most impressive one I saw.
Yeah.
Now, it might have not been the most aesthetically cool looking one.
Yeah.
But that was for a purpose. Like, everything that you're doing in there is going into making it not vibrate as much, making it feel a particular way. And it was I think it was the deadest sub 4-pound bow, non-aluminum, that I ever tried.
Yeah, it's crazy how light you can get them, but I think you get to a point of diminishing returns. Like with the from a decibel perspective, I don't think with our specific alloy, I don't think they'll ever get that hey, I feel like I'm hitting a baseball on a cold day off the end of a bat. I don't think you'll get that with our alloy, but I do think that it's going to get louder. I like fast bows. I'm going to design fast bows, and a fast and a light bow is just going to equal a loud bow.
Yeah.
And so you got to hit that point of diminishing returns where it's like, okay, this is getting gimmicky. Like, I don't need a 3 pound, like,
I want a 4 pound, 34-inch axle to axle bow.
Yeah. Dang.
I want a 4 pound, 34-inch axle to axle bow.
I wish we could do that.
Wish we knew a guy.
Yeah. But
see, I don't even know that. Like, I just think that on the relative scale, you need to be in the bottom part of the relative scale. That's it. I don't think you guys have to be blowing people's minds and falling off the bottom of that thing, because I would rather have a bow that's at the bottom of the scale, that's a 34-inch axle to axle, 35-inch axle to axle, that then had some sound stuff on it, so that when I snapped it off, I was like, God, this is just satisfying. There's a thing to this.
Yeah. You're just going to have to live with our center mass V2 sight mounting bracketry.
Yeah, you got.
I'm just kidding.
When I first saw it, and I think I actually said it on a review, and I kind of felt bad about it. I was like, this looks like they decided to do this 2 days before they sent this bow.
Dude, I actually, so I'm shooting the Virtue right now, and I've got the Bowtech center mass dual track on it, mounted in line. Actually is a pretty damn good way to mount the sight.
It's a fine way.
If you are using a black gold center mass sight or a Bowtech center mass sight, anything with that V2 bar, it works awesome because it even puts the mass weight even further.
I don't disagree, but the fact that there's a lip edge sticking up that high on either side of it looks like we didn't do the math right, or we just rushed this shit out.
Picatinny, just do the Picatinny built in on everything.
Everybody's going to go to it.
We're on the same page.
It should. Everybody just needs to go to Picatinny, but everybody needs to make sure the Picatinny is tight enough that once you snap it in, the thing can't slide up and down.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the hell that happened with the Hoyt. Like
everyone I've tried's like that.
That's not the way they're supposed to work.
No,
it doesn't make sense.
Well, it's
no
Picatinny. No, just take on. Picatinnies were intended to be mounted on top of something with it going this way.
They don't,
not here when it can go that way.
No, they don't. They're not
impact.
Supposed to slide within those.
Have you bolted scopes on Picatinny rails?
The ridges that poke up, the screw that's in it is supposed to rest between them and hit the top of it, so that when you tighten it up, I want zero slop.
Well, I don't disagree, but there's only one real solution to that, and you got to have a wedge screw that as you tighten it, it spans. So they make those for ARs, like the back pin in your AR, how you grab an upper and a lower, and they're just kind of click, 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 click. They make
I've changed mine out.
JP Enterprises or something like that makes one where as you tighten it, it just gets wider.
Yeah,
and then the slop's gone.
Tighten that stack up. Yeah. I know. I think the pick is the way to go. I think you got to do it right though. You can't have a bunch of slop in your pick mount. I mean, with the amount of inches of variation that we're talking about, the amount of centimeters that are going to make a huge difference. You got to make sure all those tolerances.
I mean, your impacts after dropping it were huge.
I moved my impact like a foot.
Yeah. So within it still being mounted to the bow, he was able to knock the scope and then mess it. Yeah.
But dude, like, start messing around with I hate calling it first axis, but it's like second axis A on your sight, and start paying attention to how not level and consistent places to mount your sight in your bow are. Like, that's what I'll say is like, you think it's level. Like, I know a lot of sight manufacturers are going away with, I guess we'll just call it first axis because that's what the industry knows it as. I don't like calling it first axis. I think the only sight manufacturer that has a true first axis is Excel. It's that axis, right, of rotation right there. Yep. I think what we call second axis, or what we call first axis, is like second axis A. It's leveling the bar, the rail to
the bow, and then the head to the rail.
Yeah. So leveling the rail to the bow. They're like, some sight manufacturers are taking that away, and I'm like, dude, you are just assuming that you're gonna mount up flush and level to the side of your riser or through your riser or into a pick. I'm like, whoa, go and test that out for yourself and see how
very foolish.
Yeah, how inconsistent that is, and so. Anyways,
but a machine pick on the riser, do you feel like that's accurate enough, or that's the most accurate way to do it?
To be consistent without having to have an adjustment?
I'm not saying not have an adjustment because that does still seem silly to me.
Yeah,
but
I do think it's the most consistent way to do it, but you also do got to keep in mind that we've got coatings and shit on there.
Yeah.
So, and especially if it's film dip. Like film dip is massively inconsistent on the outside of it. When you go to try to put something on there, if there's a little bit more material up here than down there, and then you go to mount it on, it's going to be
That's why I
it.
always think that the best way to do it is an accessory piece. So don't machine it into your riser and then decorate it, because like Josh is saying, then you are having to do critical dimension analysis, and you're having to quality check that after decoration. There's all sorts of gremlins within decoration, like how much film comes on, like how much excess you wash off. I think the best thing is to have an anodized piece of metal that you bolt on that's like after the fact. It doesn't look as sexy.
Well, the negative with that though is now you got 2 screws holding that on instead of cutting the metal where it can't come off. And that's the plus of having it cut into the riser. So you're going to give up something one way or another, no matter what you do.
You could have like relief cuts in it, so it like seats in the same place and it's not going to move. I mean, I don't know. I think that the scarier thing to me would be
relief cut would be cool.
Would be decoration. Yeah, you could just relief cut in the risers, then it just seats in there. And then
that would
you
be cool.
increase the stack.
I haven't seen somebody do that. I've only seen them put it flat on the front with 2 screw holes in it.
Yeah.
If you actually have an indent on the end of it where it actually locks into where, that could be cool.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe somebody
come see my computer.
Dude, but I love the fact that you're talking about this from the perspective of somebody who shoots bows and wants to solve these problems. It's just like I literally just feel like we're just talking to a guy, and like, no, it's a guy who can like actually make some legit changes to some of this stuff. It's very cool.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's a unique opportunity for us to have, and like I think that the way we're going to be able to compete and the way we're going to need to compete is to lean into this. It's like, let's be different. Let's talk about it. Let's have a advisory board of people that like we trust in the industry, that we're going to get a sneak peek when you can actually make some changes. There's a difference between getting a sneak peek and saying I'm on the advisory board when you don't have time to actually like make feedback, but get in early enough into R&D, sign an NDA, whatever. I trust you, and say, hey, what do you actually think about this? This is our first prototype we've machined. It's not forged tooling. It's like just from billet. We've just machined it. What do you think? We can actually make changes now before we even order a forge for it. And then that's something like we're going to have to lean into again. Like, this should not be when people get in trouble is when you have a team of siloed thinkers and they say, we're going to make this product. Here's the product. Good luck. Go shoot it. Like, because we're so-and-so. It's like that shouldn't be the case. Paige and Tim are going to be able to design a better target bow than me. Like, I should not be saying, here's the product. Good luck. So I don't know. We're gonna have to lean into it. I'm trying to figure out like how we can kind of differentiate ourselves and form a strategic advantage.
Yeah, just like what you just said, is taking feedback
100%.
from people who are actually good at this is the tough part.
Yeah.
There are very few people who can see a product. He's one of these people who can see a product and then go, it would be better if you did this. Like that's a difficult challenge because people can go, I don't like it as much as last year's. And you're like, why? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of those people.
You can spend some time with it and then you eventually start to figure it out. And then like we could all like, we put up all the bows Bowtech's ever had, all the bows Matthews has ever had and Hoyt's ever had. We can be like, that was a really good year. That was a really good year.
Yep.
And it's like, and we probably would all agree. And then maybe there's some years where we'd probably disagree. Like I have some hot takes on like some bows through antiquity where I was like, man, that was just ahead of its time, or that just was, people just didn't get that right. And that's why sometimes you flop, because then you get person in my seat who's like kind of counterculture to the industry. So it's all give and take. But I want to just on the Texas thing, just some clarity. We're establishing parallel operations right now. We should be completely out of our Eugene facility and transition into our Houston facility sometime in the fall, November timeframe. And then we're going to be fully operational, blowing and going by January. So that's kind of the time frame. We're going to ask all of our consumers and dealers to give us some grace through this time period. Like, we're going to try to execute this, and we've got a great plan. We've got great people in place, and this plan is tight to have as minimal business interruption as possible, especially on the customer service and warranty. That's something that that's a huge focus of mine. I can't tell you how many people I've seen who are like, man, I used to love Bowtech, but then the customer service and warranty perspective like turned me away.
Right.
And it's so day to day, like, but I want to have like a great customer service team that I really trust and I really, I put a lot of faith in, and we're establishing that in a way to transition it to Houston. But we just ask everyone, like, we're going to need some grace here, and whether it's going to piss you off or not, it's like it kind of is what it is. And so we're making the move.
But it's smart for you to say that.
Yeah.
Because you're just being honest.
Yeah.
And I think any practical person is going to understand, like, we didn't build a separate facility and put all our machines in it and then hire an entirely group of people and then sell all these machines and fire all these people. Like, we're trying to do this thing as,
And the personnel part of it's a huge deal too. And it's something that I hold very close to my heart. And so anyways, strap in when we get to Houston and we get to Texas. I mean, like, some crazy things are going to happen, and I'm super excited. I think the industry should be really excited, and this is going to be a positive thing for everyone, and position Bowtech for, like, I'm tired of all this change. Like, I want it to usher in a long period of like prosperity and stability for the company, and I think it's going to do that. And for my sake, hopefully these leadership changes are not early and often, and so. I think this is going to be a great thing for everyone, and I'm just excited to get you guys down to the facility, and we'll have to have a grand opening party or a media day or something.
Heck yeah.
And,
Sure.
and get everyone down to shoot. So
about the new facility, there were a couple of questions that I did not ask. Is it just Bowtech moving, or are any other of the companies that
that's a good question.
they own going to move as well?
Yeah. So as far as like org structure, like I said, I don't like pure archery. I think that's going to go away. I think Bowtech Archery Inc. is cleaner, and then those brands will be Diamond and then Black Gold Premium Accessories, which will be Black Gold, Tight Spot, and Ripcord underneath Black Gold. And so Montana facility in Bozeman is staying put. That facility is a well-oiled machine, and Aaron and Kelly keep that place like tight. And so, again, not evidence of like a private equity move. They would just like force us to consolidate. And so, but no, that facility is really tight. It's really well run. It's efficient. Aaron and Kelly are the best. And so we're keeping Black Gold where it is. As far as brands that we're moving under that roof, it'll be Bowtech, Diamond, and Tight Spot. Ripcord and Black Gold will stay in Montana. Okay. And so, so that's how it's going to shake out from that perspective.
Okay, cool. Just I hadn't asked.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know. So personal, don't want to know.
Yeah. I don't have anything else.
Oh, solid, man.
Cool.
I appreciate you being as candid as you have been and as open as you are. And I think that's the path that's probably best for your company to take. Just be an open book and, want feedback and different information. That's just phenomenal that you're actually taking the resources that you have under your roof and the skilled people that you have at your disposal and say, here, what do we need to do? Let's make it better. Like a lot of times the engineer's head gets in the way and says, no, I'm smarter than you. No, just listen to feedback. I guarantee you it'll help.
Yeah, no, we're really excited. And, want everyone to go and support your local pro shop and pick up a Bowtech bow and try it. I mean, that's really the best way to feel the difference and, and to see kind of all of our technology that we have in those bows. So, yeah, thanks for having me. This was awesome, guys.
Yeah,
thanks for coming out, man.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
Appreciate
of course.
it.